Okay, guys, I hope you guys are excited and ready to go. Tonight on the call, we have special guest Jack Harvell. Jack, we are excited to have you. Let me give a little bit of background information on Jack. Jack is what I consider to be, or who I consider to be, the number one foremost expert on PPC. I don't ever think I've spoken to anyone more brilliant than Jack on the subject. He tests, and tests again. And Jack has a pretty strong background in SEO and a lot of other things. He also has a very strong military background, so you can imagine how meticulous he is in doing things. And again, he's got an exciting story, and he's got some really specialized skills that I haven't seen anybody else develop. He is an expert in partnering. He's perhaps one of the leading experts in partnering because really he's the one that taught me about it. So when I first heard it from him, I was fortunate enough to have met him at a conference, and he taught me a little bit about not only what he was doing in partnering, but also what he was doing in PPC. And let me say, when I first spoke with him, it was revolutionary. I was really excited when I first met Jack. He's continued to be a good friend of mine, somebody that I respect. And like I said, I feel he's the foremost expert on PPC and probably even partnering. I haven't seen anybody do the kind of things that he does. And tonight, I went over this presentation with him earlier, and let me say I was blown away. So right now we are in the actual Facebook group, and we're under this particular, this poster. We were kind of laughing at what Mike picked out for Jack here, but we are hashtagging little Jack on here because Jack's wife just recently had a baby, so he's definitely excited about that. And we're putting hashtag little Jacks if you're excited about Jack talking tonight, because he took the time out of his busy schedule, out of helping his wife with the baby, to come here talk to you all. And let me tell you, the presentation he put together is going to blow your minds. So give it up for Jack. Let's put a hashtag little Jack. We're going to go here with his presentation. He has a lot to cover, so I'm going to turn it over to him pretty much immediately. And that's because of the fact that I know you guys are going to have a ton of questions. Jack's stuff just blew my mind earlier. In fact, I'm going to have a ton of questions for him. I saved them for tonight because, again, I am super fired up. So as he goes along in the presentation, either Smack or I will stop him every now and then and ask him questions. Before he did start, though, I wanted to point out one thing, and that's earlier what Smack was mentioning to him off camera, which is the fact that Amazon, they're always going to make changes, guys. Every single time we turn around, there's going to be a new change from Amazon. Sometimes I cannot even keep up with the changes, but you just have to understand that with Amazon, it's the same thing as Google. Remember, we are dealing with the search engine. So what's going to happen as a result of that is that they're going to be making constant changes, and we as SEOs, it might not be Google SEO, but it's Amazon SEO. There is such a thing. If you do not know that, then you are going to fall way behind. We are Amazon SEOs, and as Amazon SEOs, we must constantly adjust to the algorithm. So Jack is going to take it away, but remember, he did videos a while back with the Elite Serum Over the Shoulder series. It was all revolving around PPC. Since then, a lot of the actual tactics that he discussed in that, the basics still apply. But remember, Amazon is constantly making adjustments to their algorithm, so we have to constantly adjust. But the basics still apply. Just remember that what he covers today, next year, it might be outdated. Luckily for us, we have Jack in our back pocket, and he will try to keep us updated on the latest. Just as Smack said earlier, exact and phrase matches are changing. We don't know what's going to happen as a result of them. Jack does not have sufficient evidence yet or sufficient test results to be able to give us the results of what he's going to make a deduction about the data he collects. So we're going to have to sit and wait. But the smartest thing to do is to also use the information he gives us tonight and test it ourselves. So you, as well as anyone else listening on the call, just like Jack does, we have to consider ourselves scientists, and we have to continually test. And that's the only way we're going to get better at things like Jack's teaching tonight, like PPC. But with that being said, he's also got a heck of a presentation on partnering tonight. All of your questions about partnering will pretty much be answered tonight. Jack is going to show us how he does deals, how he actually arranges them. I know a lot of people have had questions on that, and he's going to talk to us tonight about that. So I am super excited to have him here. If you haven't put a hashtag Little Jack on here to congratulate Jack, put it there. If you've only put one, put two, just to show him how fired up you are to have him, and also show him how appreciative you are to have him, because again, he did this out of the kindness of his heart. He put this amazing presentation here tonight to show you all exactly how he does things. So I am super excited. We cannot take Jack for granted. He's done a heck of a job, and I think you're going to be blown away here. So I'm going to get right into this because of the fact we have 2.5 hours, and we want to answer as many questions as possible. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over the screen to Jack, and he's going to get started. And let me turn on the webcam. I'm sorry I did not turn the webcam on. I will definitely turn that on, though, so you guys can see me pick my nose or do whatever while Jack talks. But let me turn that on so you can see I'm here listening right along with you, and I will be asking questions. I'm not even sure if I turned it on right. We'll see what happens. So if you guys can see me, great. If not, I'm sorry. I don't even see where it is. And okay, there it is. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me hand the screen over to you, Jack. Let me just find your name here. And Smack Barai will chime in anytime we have a question. People start asking you questions as he goes along, because at the end of this presentation, we are going to have a lightning round of questions. I already told Jack the deal. We're going to have to ask questions fast. He's going to answer them just as furiously because of the fact that we're limited on time, and we want to get to every single one of those questions that's going to come on there. So if you guys have one, as you come up with it, put it on there. Either Smack or I will actually answer it. And at the end, if we haven't answered it, Jack will answer as many as he possibly can. So I'm going to go to make Jack presenter. And Jack, I'm handing it over to you, and just let us know. We'll ask if everybody can see your screen. We'll ask for a 1 here in a minute.
All right. Let me know when you can see it. I'm trying to counter that girly picture.
Right, that's manly, Jack. That's a good one.
All right. All right. First and foremost, give me a 1 if you guys can hear me. Make sure the audio is good to go. And thank you for that introduction there, Liz. I do appreciate it. And just so everybody knows, Little Jack had a hand in this particular presentation while I was putting it together last night. So, all right. Make this full screen. Can everybody see tips for partnering on Amazon with yours truly? All right, looks like we can see it. All right, so first things first, I want to kind of get a little bit of a poll going. How many of us are, give me a 1 if you are an Amazon seller of just your own products. Give me a 2 if you are an Amazon seller yourself and you actually have clients. And give me a 3 if you have not yet made the leap to Amazon quite yet, but you're thinking about it. Right. So we got a lot of 1s, a little bit of a mix of 2s and 3s in there. Okay. Helps so that I can get an idea of who I'm talking to. All right. So I see over there. Is it Helen? You got a 5 in there. I don't know what 5 was for, but is it 1 plus 2? Or 1 or 2 plus 5 or 2 plus 3? Is that what we're talking about?
And Jack, we've got a lot of comments too in the OMG Way thread. A lot of 1s, 3s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Ty.
Okay. Well, I think that just based on the way that I've put this presentation together, I think that everybody is going to benefit. Whether you're a seller on Amazon currently, you can use some of the techniques that I'm going to be talking about a little bit later on in the presentation for increasing your sales pretty much immediately, like literally within the next 3 to 7 days. And for those of you who have clients, you can kind of push it into the right direction for getting the results as quickly as possible. And if you're not quite there making that leap 1 to Amazon, this will give you some ideas of, like places that you can go to partner with people so that you're not the one putting up the cash. All right, so without further ado, moving on into our presentation, I'd like to start off by really kind of explaining what it is that we're going to cover so you know what to focus on and what to really expect from the presentation. So first things first, we're going to talk about the 3 best ways that I personally find for or that I find are the best for potential partnerships on Amazon. And some of the things that you should look for when you're deciding whether to partner with a company. It's not always a good idea to partner with some companies. You know, there's not going to necessarily be any room for growth for you. It's not a good deal for them. It's not a good deal for you. So you got to kind of know when to kind of cut certain things loose and move on into a direction that's going to be beneficial for everybody involved. One of the questions that I get all the time in consultations when I'm talking with people about Amazon consulting and launching products on Amazon with partners is whether you should do a percentage, a fee, like a retainer, like a lawyer, or whether you should do both. You know, in some cases, companies aren't going to be open to a percentage on the front end, okay? But it can also make it to where that's not necessarily worth your time, because if you're going in and promoting 50 to 100 products for a company, you're going to be making them a lot of money. All right, so it's good to go in and try to get that interest into the company, because not only is it more motivation for you to push them in the right direction, and there's a lot of companies that'll see it that way, but it sincerely does actually provide that incentive for you to move into doing those promotions for all of those different products and kind of being really, really proactive in the whole process. All right, so we're going to also talk about like the fastest way to increase profitability for your new clients. So once you actually get the client, you want to be able to show them results. And the reason why you want to be able to show them results is because that continues the relationship and progresses on into other things. And that's going to kind of lead us into talking about some of the super awesome tricks that are going to blow your mind. I like kind of putting those that fun stuff in there to kind of leave the suspense there. But that is actually moving into more of the sponsored ads style of promotion that I do. And then we're also going to talk about taking the blinders off. And what do you do next once you've actually gotten results for a client and you're basically pushing them forward within Amazon? The other things that you can do to strengthen the relationship and expand on different areas of promotion. So Amazon is a sales channel, right? Everybody knows that Amazon is a sales channel, but when you have OMG in your back pocket, like every one of you guys and gals are a member of OMG, you have so many different things that you can offer companies. It's not just Amazon, all right? There's a lot of different promotion techniques that are covered within OMG that you can use for the Amazon sales channel, but you can also use that to go in other directions of like building out websites and building out videos and promoting those videos, whether it's building out a Shopify store and utilizing certain e-commerce techniques that are taught within OMG. All the standard ranking stuff that Cotton talks about and Greg talks about and all the different training that you're going through, you're basically a one-stop shop for them, or you can be a one-stop shop for them. And believe me, they're spending the money, all right? And if they're not, if it's a new company and you're trying to push them in that direction, all right, you're basically going to be able to get like all of that additional advertising, or you're going to be able to go in the direction of doing all that additional advertising for them and increase your value, all right, across the board based on the results that you're going to get for them from Amazon. All right, is everybody kind of tracking that? Is everybody on board with what I'm talking about here and what you're actually going to be learning from the PowerPoints? Are there any questions at this point that we want to ask? All right. Okay. All right. Without further ado, we're going to get right into the finding potential partners. We're going to talk about the 3 ways that I personally find are the most successful for getting yourself surrounded by a bunch of different potential Amazon sellers or current Amazon sellers. And the first one is going to be trade vendor shows. Okay, so I know you've probably heard this from an SEO standpoint. It's one of the ways that a lot of people go in to these trade and vendor shows and they're pitching SEO. Okay, but one of the things that they haven't heard is Amazon.com. All right, and in my personal opinion, that makes you a walking Shark Tank in those types of environments. Next, we're going to talk about local businesses and manufacturers, suppliers that are in your local area, and the kind of conversations that you can have with them for basically extracting clients that they currently have or the clients that they're going to be developing products for. And then we're going to talk about partnering with existing Amazon sellers. All right, so trade shows, becoming the walking Shark Tank. I remember when I first talked to Mike and we were kind of talking about the way that I do things and a lot of the different partners that I had. In a lot of cases, that actually came from current relationships that I had with clients, certain like SEO relationships or PPC relationships that I have with clients, and they had suppliers and people that were providing them resources in order to provide, whether it was a service or they were providing different products, and I was able to leverage that and put a lot of their products on Amazon. Very much so in this case, like when you're actually going into trade shows, you're going to be that walking Shark Tank, all right? You're going to be the person that's walking by specific booths that people have different products, whether it's a new product or whether this product's been around for a while. In a lot of cases, these companies do not have any sort of presence on Amazon, and they have hundreds of products. All right. In this particular case, you can go into a trade show and walk out with 10, 15, 20 different opportunities of clients that have hundreds of products. We'll let that kind of sink in for a second. All right. That is a lot of money that's on the table. Okay. And that's typically what I find at trade shows is that they have kind of I don't want to say antiquated. It's kind of an old style of like e-commerce platform, and they're trying to promote it with PPC, but they're really losing their shirt. All right, they're not on a sales channel like Amazon, or if they are on a sales channel like Amazon, they're not doing a good job because they don't know how to optimize, and they're being left in the dust by companies that know how to optimize. All right, so finding certain trade shows in your area, that's where you're going to want to start. You're going to want to go to Google. This is my favorite. Up at the top, going to Google and actually looking for trade shows plus your city. All right, and if you don't have trade shows that come to your city specifically, the closest large city that you have to your location, put in that city. All right, when you search trade shows, vendor shows, those types of that type of search is what you want to go for. There's a few resources here that will pretty much pop up in almost every case that you do this search in Google, and that's going to be the Trade Show Network, EventSci, Eventbrite, Expo Database, and TSNN, which is the Trade Show News Network. All right, with these, basically what you're going to have is a situation where you can go in and you can pick different types of shows. Okay, so it's not really going to benefit you to go to, let's say, for instance, I'm in Houston or I'm in the Houston area. It's not going to really benefit me to go to an oil and gas trade show. All right, I can't really sell oil and gas on Amazon. All right, it doesn't really work out that way. But if you're looking for like home and garden or pet products, or I know there's a lot of different kitchen style trade shows. The types of shows where you can actually take the products and put them on Amazon. That's the shows that you're going to want to research. Okay, so in most cases when you find these trade shows, you're going to be able to see a list of exhibitors that are going to be there. All right, and this is a very important part because you're going to want to research the exhibitors and what types of products they have, and make sure that it's actually you're kind of blending the research phase of going in and trying to find products that you would want to promote or that you personally would want to source. You would go through that same process with the products that these companies already have. So you make sure that there's opportunity on Amazon before you actually start digging into that company. Now, if they don't have a list of exhibitors, there's usually an event organizer that's associated with that particular trade show or vendor show. So you can contact them and you can actually get a list of exhibitors that way. All right, so you're going to want to do your homework on these exhibitors. All right, you're going to want to make sure that you're going in and looking at the presence that they have, not only on Amazon, but also online. Like what does their website look like? Do they look like they're pretty progressed and pretty far along in their advertising efforts? And in a lot of cases, you're going to find companies that are. So you're going to want to make sure you prioritize the list to your level of experience, all right? Don't try to go after on your first run the company that has 5,000 products, all right? That may not be realistic for you, all right? You want to try to, maybe go for some of the lower hanging fruit until you get the swing of it, like companies that have 10 to 15 to 20 products, but room for growth, okay? So when we're dealing with the prioritization, you're going to want to make sure that you do that it's commensurate with your level of experience, all right? And also the work required to profitability. For me personally, I like going for companies that already have an existence on Amazon, but they're not doing a great job of promoting. because their listings are already there, their ASNs, all the UPCs, they already have the products in a lot of cases at FBA or within their own warehouse and their own fulfillment. So I have a clearer path to actually making that company profitable within the first month, which is always going to be my goal. Now, it doesn't have to be your goal to get them profitable within the first month. Believe me, as long as you manage the expectations on the front end with the company, and you explain, excuse me, if you explain to them that, hey, we're going to make you profitable within a 3-month time frame, then you're giving yourself a 3-month time frame, okay? But I personally like to show them results within the first month, and I'm going to show you a way to do that. But prioritize companies also based on the level of work that's going to be required to profitability. Okay, so make sure you talk to the ones first that are the highest on your list. All right, so there's a couple of different ways to approach companies at trade shows. You could do it, in my opinion, one of two ways. The first one is indirect. Now, I always go to a company with the I could go either way. Like, I could be a potential distributor for their product, or I could be that agency that's going to promote their product. It can go either way. All right, so it depends on the introduction, like to which direction I go. Now, you can kind of pre-plan this and just start asking the questions about potentially being a distributor for whatever products it is that they have, and that's what gets the conversation started, and it's a little bit less salesy. Like, if you go up to a person that is there at the booth and you start talking to them, they're like, hey, we're going to promote your product and do this, that, and the other. In a lot of cases, they've already been pitched that 16 different times, and it may not necessarily be with Amazon.com. It was with, say, SEO, or we're going to manage your social media. Hey, we'll do a free Facebook page for you, yada yada yada. All right, so they've already been kind of badgered up to that point. So coming to them with like a unique spin on it. In a lot of cases, as soon as I say Amazon.com, if I already know that they don't really have a presence, or their presence on Amazon.com isn't that strong, then in a lot of cases I see their eyes light up. All right, and they're like, oh, really? And if I'm not dealing with, if I'm dealing with a gatekeeper, I'm not actually dealing with like a company owner or somebody who's the head of their marketing, it's a little bit of a different story. But in that case, what I'll do is I'll stick with the whole potential distributor side of things. All right, I'll get contact information, and then I'll start kind of digging into the company a little bit more, and then finding that way past the gatekeeper in order to talk to, say, one of their marketing executives or to the actual brand owner themselves. Okay, so a couple different ways you can approach that. It's good to know that when you're going in ahead of time, the type of company that you're dealing with and the approach that you're going to want to take when you get there. Are you going to be that potential distributor that is asking, hey, what is the price on your product? What is the minimum order quantity? And that is what gets you in the door, basically. Or, like I said, you can kind of go the agency approach and tell them, hey, I promote products on Amazon, and this is what I want to do for you. So the first one is less direct. The next one is definitely more direct, and it's more sales. All right. So, are there any questions on trade shows for the time being?
Hey, Jack, I just wanted to point out one thing here before you went on. I just wanted to tell everybody should be really super excited about this. I mean, nobody has ever broken it down like this. If you guys are understanding the concept of being your own Shark Tank, give me a hashtag Shark Tank. Now, I know that for starters, a lot of people don't understand this concept, but what Jack is basically saying is every day that we see Shark Tank, or every week when we see a new Shark Tank, we see people go on Shark Tank that have wonderful products. They put all their money, they put all their efforts, they create all sorts of patents and trademarks on these products that look just phenomenal. All the marketing, everything looks great, except they're missing one key ingredient, and that's the ability to drive traffic to their product. So what I mean by when I say that is they lack the ability to send eyeballs to see the product. So they don't have that ability to actually do that. But by you stepping in and saying, hey, look, I am an Amazon specialist. I have the ability to drive customers or potential customers to your product and service, and I have the ability to put them right in front of your product and get ready to pull their wallets out and buy that product. Don't you think that would be especially delicious to a potential client that cannot drive that traffic? That's where your ability kicks in. You no longer need to be on Shark Tank. You become the shark. And that is because of the fact that Mark Cuban, Kevin Harrington, all the other guys that are on there, Mr. Wonderful, I don't even know the rest of their names because I don't even watch Shark Tank. That's a true story. but all these guys have the ability to provide distribution to a product or service. So they have things like QVC. They have the ability to put it in retail outlets or to get it on other channels other than QVC, like Home Shopping Network, things like that. Whereas these companies don't have that. But by you being a specialist in Amazon, you immediately become your own shark. And no longer do you need really any money to promote this. You have the ability, and people are looking for that specialized ability because they need eyeballs on their product. If they don't have any eyeballs, they don't have any sales. So this is just really exciting. If I'm not seeing a lot of hashtag Shark Tanks, you guys aren't excited for what Jack is presenting. I mean, he's got a lot more. You got to thank him for coming on tonight. Like I said, he's coming on out of the goodness of his own heart. He's a wonderful guy. So Jack, keep going. And I'm going to encourage people to keep putting those Shark Tanks to get you fired up, because I certainly am.
I just want to make one observation about trade shows, and Jack and I actually spent some time together at ASD last year. But there were, I came out of there with 4 potential partners last year. 2 of them approached me because of the questions I asked. One of them said, hey, you know, there are all these people buying my things, putting it on Amazon. How can I do that? And the other one asked me if I could send him his catalog and determine which of his products would be appropriate to put on Amazon. So Jack's trade show suggestion definitely works. There are also a couple of questions in there from people who are very new, wanting to know how early it is to do it and what do you do if you don't have proof. Doesn't really matter. Just like on the Google SEO side, we have lots of experts here within OMG. So if you get a client for Amazon and you haven't been doing enough to know how to rank it or know how to optimize it, there are plenty of Amazon experts within OMG that you can partner with until either on a temporary basis or on a permanent basis with this to get things going. So I wouldn't be timid if you have the sales part down in terms of getting the clients, but you don't have the ranking part down.
Absolutely, and that's definitely going to play on the whole confidence side of things. Like if you're not necessarily experienced when it comes to like how to get into Amazon and like optimize a title or even get in there and do some sponsored ads, you should go out and you should grab a couple of products, like grab a couple of like relatively inexpensive products, and you can do things like bundling. There's a bunch of different bundling opportunities on Amazon where you can take branded products that are already there, purchase them. You don't have to do this to make a profit, all right? But you can spend $20 or $30 and grabbing up a product and going through the process of listing it on Amazon and going through the process of running ads to it, so you feel more confident in your ability to go in and do these things, okay, before you actually walk in and start talking to a company. All right. Now, I'm not saying like what Susan was talking about is very, very true. All right. But really, this is all going to play on your ability to be confident in the things that you're telling a client or a potential client. All right. Like I know I can go like into like any trade show and like Susan did, walk out with 4 or 5 contacts that I could very easily promote their products. Okay. But that's because I've been in there and I've done it. All right. Now, I do understand that the conversation, they're thinking about what if they ask this question? What if they ask that question? They're going to ask questions, all right? And you don't necessarily have to know all the answers right then and there and be like, look, I'll get you the answer to that specific question. But bottom line is you're going to be able, just based on the presentation, once we get to the part of actually driving the traffic, you're going to be able to go in, list these products, and drive immediate sales for these companies, all right? So it may not necessarily be like mind-boggling where they're at 500 sales a day right out of the gate, but you're going to be able to progress into that, all right? So then, and we'll talk about the more specifics here in a second, but just don't let that be the hang-up, all right? All right, so moving past trade shows, we're going to get into our next method, which is local clients, all right? And this is becoming the walking Shark Tank Part 2. Now, I want to preface this with, do not discount this process. Do not discount this process, okay? There is a lot of power behind the slides that are coming right here, all right? Google your city plus manufacturers, suppliers. You've probably seen it left and right, and I'm can almost guarantee you that almost nobody on this webinar will probably go in and do it. All right? That's a challenge. I dare you to go in and do it and not find a lot of opportunity. Okay? You can go into google.com, use your city plus manufacturer suppliers, or you can go to specialized places like yellowpages.com and manta.com. A lot of manufacturers use a lot of kind of old school yellowpages.com in order to list their services. Okay? The whole idea behind this is being able to find, if you'll notice underneath the local partnerships with product creators and promoters, contract manufacturers. Does anybody know what a contract manufacturer is? Give me an answer in the chat if you know what a contract manufacturer is. Let's see who gets it right.
I didn't even know what it was until you told me, Jack. Contract
manufacturer makes custom products for you. Okay, exactly. Makes custom products for you, Mary Simmer. There you go. I got a meeting with you tomorrow there, Mary. All right, so they make custom products for you. All right, they are going to go in and, like, it doesn't have to be for you. It can be for a lot of other companies in the area. All right, in fact, a lot of the ones that I talk about, they manufacture products for a lot of different people. Okay, so this type of partnering, all right, works in that you can kind of, It works in that you can kind of do this the same way that some of your SEO specialists and PP specialists do it, all right, or web designers. So a web designer gets a client, they design a website for them, and then they say, oh, okay, well, I know this guy that can do some SEO for you, or I know this guy that can do some PPC for you, and vice versa. Like somebody who's coming and looking for SEO and PPC specialist, and he's like, hey, I got this web designer that can take care of a couple of the issues that you have on your site, and they refer him to the web designer. So if you go to contract manufacturers, all right, or even like what I was talking about, local manufacturers, suppliers that have certain types of products that either they make for themselves or they make for other people, you can have a conversation with them talking about, okay, well, we can get you launched on Amazon for your products, and for the contract manufacturer or the contracts that you have with your existing and future clients, we'll give you a referral fee for directing us to them to get them launched on Amazon. Is that setting in? Does anybody see the opportunity there? Waiting for the chat. Does anybody see the opportunity there? I don't think they see the opportunity, Liz. I don't think they see it.
I don't know. I'm starting to wonder about this crowd. Do you guys see the opportunity that Jack is talking about? I mean, this is a tremendous opportunity. Let's get a hashtag opportunity. I know I'm going a little bit nuts with these hashtags, but you guys have been asking for this for months and months, and Jack is here laying it all out for you. And I think a bunch of you might have even fallen asleep. So maybe it's just not settling in, Jack, or maybe they're just not excited about it. But let's get a hashtag opportunity. He put this all together. I see everybody's sort of split up. There's a couple people just asking you to repeat that again, Jack, so maybe that would help them out here. But guys, put your comments in the Facebook group. We're in the Facebook group. We're in the OMG group. Here comes a lot of opportunities, Jack. Couple people asking for just repetition, so maybe if you could quickly repeat that for them, it'll get through those thick skulls we got out there tonight.
All right. The contract manufacturer. Say, for instance, if I want to go out, like I have a product, like I'm thinking about a product and I'm saying, okay, well, you know what? I want to have this company design this special pen holder for me, or I want them to design this special lamp for me. I'm going to go out and I'm going to find contract manufacturers to build that product for me. Okay. Now that doesn't necessarily help you from a standpoint of, unless you already have like a proprietary idea of how you would want something to be built, and you're not really going to go talk to contract manufacturers. All right. It's people who have like products, either existing products that they want to improve upon, or they have designs that they want to improve upon, or they have something proprietary that they're like, okay, well this there's nothing like this in the market, so I want to put this out in the market. They're going to go talk to a contract manufacturer if they don't have their own manufacturing facility. Okay, and you'll find a lot of this. Okay, you'll find a lot of contract manufacturers that specialize in a lot of different things. Okay, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to find contract manufacturers in your area. Okay, now this works in the same way where you're basically trying to offer them something for them to kind of put you in contact with either their existing and future clients But you can go in and you can do some things for them like some SEO. You can do some free marketing. You can do like kind of a I scratch your back, you scratch mine situation. Okay, and you can also give them like kickbacks. So for instance, if you wind up getting deals from the clients that they have that come in that want them to manufacture their product, they already have a lot of people that they're doing this for. Okay, so they immediately have a lot of people that they can put you in contact with. Okay, that they manufacture products for. Okay, so that can put you in contact with local businesses that are using this contract manufacturer to develop their products. Then you can go and speak to them, or you can have the contract manufacturer make the introduction and say, hey, we got this guy that can get you launched on Amazon, and they can do a lot of other things for you. Would you be interested in something like that? Okay, you're giving them a referral fee, all right? So you can either pay them on a case-by-case basis, like if you actually wind up closing that client, then you can kind of hook them into the percentage that you get, or you can pay them outright, like per referral. All right, it just depends on how you want to structure it. All right, does that make it a little bit more clear? Is everybody starting to kind of get it now, Liz?
Yeah, I think that should be, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I see a lot of people saying brilliant. If you guys aren't excited about this opportunity, I don't know what's going to get you excited. This literally is a game changer. And that's what OMG is all about, is game changing. I've never heard this discussed before, Jack. So I am certainly super fired up about it. I can just see the potential if somebody's willing to apply themselves to this technique itself. That's a huge potential. Again, I've never seen this spoken about ever. So I'm super fired up. If you haven't put your hashtag opportunity, get it in there. This is game changing. Keep going, Jack. I'm fired up.
Well, if you're fired up about that, you'll be fired up about this. Okay. So the idea here, kind of moving into the local specialty stores, these types of stores that could be like your local bike store, just to kind of give you an example. And in a lot of cases, these companies have very interesting resources. Okay, so in the same way that you would have conversations with contract manufacturers, you can go in and have conversations with local specialty stores, offering to do something for them to gain access to other resources that they have. All right, where not only can you offer Amazon services, say potentially to that bike store, but you can also offer services to potentially their parts supplier. Okay, so you can do that through the specialty store, or you can do that through their resources. It just depends on what they're willing to do. I know I've had a lot of conversations with companies that are specialty stores. They don't really want to get into it. They don't want to get into like all the parts and accessories and things like that. Maybe they're only really interested in selling to their local market. But you do a couple of things for them, and then they make those introductions. Okay, so the offer can be very simple, but it's going to be beneficial things for local businesses that you can offer them, like social media marketing, setting up their Facebook page, doing a little bit of on-page SEO for them, and potentially getting them ranked for a couple of keywords. These are the things that you have available to you within OMG as far as the processes to accomplish these things. All right, and that makes it to where their resources become your resources and vice versa. Okay, so I really want to kind of make sure that this is sinking in how powerful it is. All right, so make sure that, like what I said before we got into this particular slide, I was making sure that you don't discredit the power of this process. Okay, this right here, trade shows is great because you can get a lot of people at the same time. Okay, but with this is very specific to you, and it's very specific to your area. Okay, trade shows go all over the country. All right, so perhaps, like after this kind of stuff gets out and people, Amazon sellers are going all over the place to trade shows, and that kind of gets worn out, this is going to be very specific to your area. All right, and there's so much opportunity, just within this one slide. Okay, now I'm going to take it a step further, and we're going to go to the next slide into local importers. Okay, when I was talking to I was actually talking to a local contact, and it wound up being a deal that didn't really make sense for myself or them. But basically, what they had was they had cowhides, okay, and these were real, genuine cowhides that they wound up importing from. I think it was Mexico is where he was importing them from, But, and I don't want to get into offensive type of stuff. I'm not really trying to offend anybody on the actual being a cowhide or whatever. But when it comes to the conversation that this guy and I were having, it wound up not being a deal that I wanted to do. All right, but in the conversation that I had with him, he was talking about his local importer. Okay, and this guy was bringing in all sorts of stuff. Okay, he was bringing in saddles. He was bringing in a lot of different types of horse gear. He was bringing in there's a lot of Texas style stuff. Okay, and that was what kind of pushed me into the direction of local importers. Okay, now these local importers, they either import for local businesses or they import for their own purposes or both. Okay, but they usually have extremely lucrative contacts. Okay, so much like the contract manufacturing that we were talking about, they have a lot of different resources that are available to them, and all you have to do is make that connection with them, and those resources are opened up to you. Now, you have to have something to offer in a lot of cases, like whether it's going to be, okay, on the back end, I'll give you a kickback on every deal that I do, or potentially doing something like I'll scratch my back, or I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine situation where you do some search engine optimization for them or social media marketing, so on and so forth, to get them, out in the open to where they're the number one local importer for their specific city. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of move in that direction, or just simply have the conversation with them where you'll give them a percentage of all the business that they refer to you. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to do this to where you get their resources, you get their contacts, and those are made available to you to where you have so much opportunity that you actually have to turn it down. Okay, I can't count how many people that I've had to actually turn down over the past year because I just don't have the time to go in and do all the work that's necessary in order to bring their business, their business up on Amazon. It's just not a deal that is worth my time. Okay, so this type of stuff is going to get you more business than you can possibly deal with. Okay, so I just want to make sure that this is hitting home. Does everybody kind of grasp the idea of local importers, and do you see how that kind of blends in, or does it really blend in? It's kind of the same concept as like contract manufacturers, but just on a different level. These guys are importing a lot of different products, all right, and whether they are branded already or they're about to be branded by local businesses, the point is that it's a lot of opportunity that's right there in front of you with these two types of contacts. Is everybody grasping it, Liz? I think my questions are kind of.
I think they're getting it. I think it's starting to set off some light bulbs in people, but I just wanted to make a comment. A lot of Goddits here, a lot of people just super excited about the content you're presenting tonight, Jack. I just wanted to say that I've seen a lot of courses in my day, even some courses on actual Amazon partnering. And let me say that what Jack is delivering tonight is even better than some courses that I've seen charge $2,000. So if you guys aren't giving Jack your love, sending him some love, hashtag Little Jacks, hashtag Shark Tank, hashtag just about anything to show him your appreciation. I think you guys got to give it up because he put a lot of time and effort into this, and I'm fired up. I'm seeing the potential in this. A lot of people always saying, we don't have the money to do any of this. We don't have the money to launch a product. We don't have the money to do giveaways. Well, here he's just laying it out for you. We all have connections. If you're networking in your city, if you're talking to people in your city, you might find that one person that just gives you one shot. And one shot is really all you need. You just need one single opportunity to not only change your life, but change your family's life and all that. So you guys need to be giving Jack out some love. He is really over delivering here. So go ahead, Jack, keep going. I think you're doing a phenomenal job. I think it's just absolutely amazing what you're doing here tonight for everybody.
One more thing, we have John Gill in the audience, and he's raving about the content Jack is delivering.
Look at that, John Gill. Great job, buddy.
Hey.
We got the John Gill in the house. That's pretty amazing. Maybe later on tonight we'll bring him on here if he's around. But he's fired up about it, Jack. I'm certainly fired up about it. I know Smack is fired up, and there's a lot of people here hashtagging and leaving comments about how fired up they are. So go ahead, keep it going. I'm excited. I can't even contain my enjoyment and entertainment this far, Jack. I'm just so pumped.
I actually thought you were about to turn this into like an Eminem rap song. Yeah, you only get one shot.
I was going to get ready to give the Ty Lopez speech I gave, but I'll wait till the end of it to give everybody that speech. I think if I wait till the end, and everybody's already fired up. We're going to get some people that create some deals sometime this week, and it's all going to be thanks to your content. So keep it going. I'll try to contain myself in the meantime.
Heck yeah. All right. So, in talking to these, your local importers or your contract manufacturers or local specialty stores or local suppliers, local manufacturers, there's a plethora of opportunity. And again, this kind of works the same way as a trade show, okay? When you're searching for a trade show, like say, for instance, if you live in kind of more the outskirts of a city or a rural area, look for your closest largest city, okay? That it doesn't mean that you can't find contract manufacturers in your area, but you're going to find more potential in some of the larger city areas. So make sure you expand your search if you live out in rural areas. And I think I saw a question in there about that. But the way that you want to approach these companies is initially what I like to try to do with them in order to get to kind of pass the gatekeeper and get the time for the right person is I'm going to approach them as a potential distributor. Or if it's a contract manufacturer, I might have an idea about a product that I want them to potentially create for me, right? And that gets the conversation started if you're less inclined to be direct. Now, as of, once I got past a certain point, I like to be very direct with companies, and if they actually give me the time of day, great. If not, I don't really care. It doesn't really matter to me. But if I do reach out to them, I'm very direct with, what I want to do for them and what I want to offer. And as your confidence builds, in this type of market, like doing Amazon partnering, then you'll kind of find the right niche for you and the right way to approach. I've done it both ways, right? To where I approach them a little less direct, and then where I approach them directly. You got to understand that in a lot of cases, these guys are pretty much bombarded with all types of different emails of, we're going to market you this way, we're going to market you that way. Now, you will stand out to them because of the fact that you're offering to market them on Amazon, and not a lot of people are doing that. All right, most of them are talking to them about the $300 a month SEO they can do for them. Okay, so make sure that you don't necessarily discount the fact that you can be direct, and as long as you are different than what everybody else is doing, you can still come across and actually get your foot in the door. All right, so making sure that you understand the way that importers and contract manufacturers and suppliers work, you got to kind of understand their business model before you get into the conversation of referral commissions. Okay, so maybe they're interested in that, maybe they're not. All right, so you want to kind of try to figure out what it is that's important to them. So ask that question. What's important to you? Okay, what's important to me is I want access to your resources. I have resources myself. Right? So what is it that I can offer you? Something of value that you want that I can do for you so that we can work together. All right? Just be straight up with it. Tell them that. Say, I want to work with you. I want to be able to have access to the people that you have access to, and I want you to have access to the people that I have access to. All right? I can do a lot of things for you. I can promote your business. I can increase your business through search engine optimization, PPC, social media management, reputation management, list building, a lot of different ways that you can help them out. And you get that reciprocal. You basically can get access to, their clients, whether it's local businesses or their importers for, huge corporations. Okay, it doesn't really matter if you have that contact with them. They basically give you that in. Okay, so you're going to have to be the one that decides the approach that you take. Okay, whether you take the direct approach or the indirect approach, but just make sure that you understand that you're trying to find something important to them. All right, what is it that's important to them? And then you're going to try to deliver something to them so that it comes back to you. All right, does that make sense to everyone? What you're trying to accomplish here? All right. I think everybody's getting it. Okay. All right. So we're gonna move past the local, and we're gonna get into the last but not least, Amazon sellers. All right. So this is part 3 of becoming the walking Shark Tank. All right. So if I haven't blown your mind yet, hopefully on this last one I'll be able to do so. Okay, so we're gonna take a little bit of a trip over to Amazon here in a second. I'm gonna show you basically where you can find brands and where you can find a plethora of endless opportunity for people to partner with. Okay, so we're going to exit out of that and we're going to head on over to Amazon. All right, so now that we're at Amazon, we're going to go to Shop by Department. All right, and you're going to come up to what Amazon calls, this is a little bit, Amazon doesn't have an ego. Earth's biggest selection. Okay. So home garden and tools, yes, sports and outdoors, beauty, health, all your different categories here within Amazon. All right. Now, what I like to try to hone in on are areas where we got physical products. I'm staying away from the digital, like the magazines and video and books and things like that. I'm going over here to places like kitchen and garden, bedding and bath. And I want you to pay very close attention to this is just one area or each one of these is just one area of Amazon. So I'm going to go into just kitchen and dining, okay? So we head into kitchen and dining, all right? And then I'm going to want to go down to the left-hand side where I see featured brands, okay? Featured brands right here. And I want to click on See More. All right, what Amazon's going to show me is top brands. That's the first screen that's going to come up. All right, so I see all the top brands, and in a lot of cases now, it's not always the case. You can find clients in here that need help, right? Even if they are considered quote unquote the top brands, okay? But when you're first starting out, I'm actually going to recommend that you don't really go after these top brands. That you kind of move in and dig a little bit deeper, okay? All right, so there's 26 letters in the alphabet. If I hope I'm right on that, 26 letters in the alphabet, and I'm picking one. All right. All right, so now that we are we're at the first letter at G, I'm going to just start scrolling. And here's all of the brand opportunity that you have for potential clients. I'm just trying to let this sink in. I'm trying to let it simmer. Let it simmer. Let it simmer. Any comments on this? Does anybody have any comments on this? Any more comments on this?
Is anybody excited? Is anybody out there, Jack?
I don't know. I don't know if I hear them. I don't know if I hear them. And in fact, I'm pretty sure when I was pulling this up last night, little Jack was going crazy. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he was trying. He might have been trying to fill his diaper. But I mean, there's also the possibility he was just getting really excited about the fact that look at how much opportunity there is, and we're just talking about one category and one letter. We're not talking about all the rest of Amazon, all the rest of the opportunity. I'm barely halfway through the page and I'm still scrolling.
You guys, little Jack had a fist pump. Nobody in here is doing anything. Little Jack was fist pumping. He's a newborn.
Yeah, he's just over 2 weeks old and he was going crazy. He was having a good old time. All right, so I know I'm letting this kind of simmer, right? But what you're looking for in here, and I know that some of you might be looking at, oh, there's just one product there, or there's just 4 products there. There's plenty of them in here that have, let's say, 22 products, all right? There's 22, there's 26, and I just want to kind of show you just a few of these so that you really understand how much opportunity there is, okay? I'm picking these randomly. I mean, I'm not going in and, pre-picking these, all right? So we're Giraffe company. All right, here's a dessert cups with lids. Can anybody see opportunity here? I mean, just look at the reviews that they have. All right, so yeah, they have decent reviews, but the opportunity in that the things that you know how to do from OMG, do you think you could potentially present these products a little bit better and like get them some decent reviews and start promoting them via sponsored ads and pushing them up in the rankings for what was it, 22 different products that they have here. Some of these are seasonal, okay, so this is like a seasonal product, but products up here, these are not seasonal, okay? All right, and perhaps there's opportunity within this. You would basically go through multiple companies and look for different opportunities, with this, there's opportunity because they're plates, all right? They have specific designs on them, and there's a lot of opportunity here. This looks like fine china, actually. And look at the prices on these, look at the prices.
Yeah, and there's none that are really like FBA as well as, I mean, the reviews suck. Some of the pictures are terrible. A lot of opportunity, like Jack said, people should be just going absolutely bananas. I know I am. I'm pretty sure Smack is. We haven't heard much from Smack, but I mean, it's just some of the pictures have black backgrounds with text on them and all sorts of terrible shit.
Yeah.
No, I think this is brilliant.
There is a plethora of opportunity throughout all of these different categories with all of these different products. Okay, so now you can go the route to where you make this product specific. Okay, so you can go and you can search specific products within Amazon, and then search by brand, and then find brands that have, like when you were doing your research, if you found openings in the market, all right, if you found areas that were not very saturated, and areas that you could dominate pretty well, you can do the research that way. Okay, but you can also do it this way, where you find companies that have the types of, like, the amount of products that you would really want, like a large amount of products where you can go in and immediately start increasing your sales and immediately start increasing their exposure. And that means more money in your pocket, okay? So if you're doing this on a per product basis for, bringing up and actually optimizing their listing for a lot of different types of keywords, or, if you're looking to go in and do, a partnership agreement where you get a percentage of, all of their sales as you start to increase them, you're looking for areas where you have a lot of opportunity. We're going to get more into detail on that type of stuff here in a minute, but right now what you're trying to do is really, or what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you all of the possibilities that are available to you. Remember, this was kitchen and dining, the letter G, okay? We're in kitchen and dining, the letter G, and this is all the opportunity that is available to you. Okay, so that, I don't know how else I can put it to where there it is. It's right there. It's right in front of you. All you have to do is reach out and take it. Is that resonating with everyone? Does anybody have questions on that? Derek was saying he can't see my screen. Is that still
I can still see it, Jack. He probably needs to log in.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. Good. Everybody's resonating with everybody. I'm glad. That's a good thing. Okay. So just wanted to make sure that was resonating. Okay. So what do you do with that? All right. Basically, what we're going to do with that is we're going to dig deeper. Okay. So once you find a grouping of companies that you're interested in, you're going to want to kind of try to find their presence outside of Amazon. Okay. Whether they have a Google store, or you actually research their brand, Google their brand, if it's their company name. And one of the things that you want to make sure of, sorry, let me go back to this. One thing you want to make sure of is when you go into these listings, let's see. Let's make sure that this is okay, this isn't one of them. This is one that you would like, this is the actual company that makes it, but then there's a lot of other people that are selling it. And then I'm not actually seeing that company. So this is one that I would actually stay away from because they are basically selling to a lot of distributors. But let's go to Geno Living. All right, so Geno Living, it's ships and sold by Cookies and Cream. Perhaps that's their company name, but let's see. Other sellers on Amazon. Okay, so Geno Living is actually the brand name, and Geno Living is the store name. Okay, so you're looking for a connection between the brand name and the store name. All right, and it looks like they've been selling either to somebody. Perhaps this is one of their companies. Ships from Thailand. So this is a Thailand company. Oddly enough, I would probably stay away from that just because of the fact it's in Thailand. I want to work with U.S.-based companies typically because the communication's better. So. But what you're trying to do here is you're trying to find the actual ships and sold by the company that is actually branding the product. Okay, so that's what I'm really looking for. I want to make sure that they're selling it on Amazon and that they're the actual owner of the brand. Right. All right. So I dig into Google. I find information about them. Now I'm also going to want to go in and actually purchase a couple of their products, right? And the reason why I want to do this is because I don't want to work with companies that don't care about the quality of their products, right? And that's a personal preference for me. Like if you want to go out and you want to promote products that have a lower quality, that's perfectly fine. But do understand that it's going to be a short-lived situation, all right? So I typically like to stay with higher quality products, and when I'm purchasing their product, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for quality. I'm looking for areas of improvement as well, okay? So their customer service, say if I reach out to them and ask them a question about their product, I'm going to do that. Even if I don't really have a question, I'm going to pick something. I'm going to find something, a question about their product, because I want to reach out and see how they respond, okay? Now, you're going to want to approach companies on the front end. You're going to want to approach companies that obviously need some sort of help. Like when you're looking for keywords for their product and you're searching them in Amazon, they're not showing up anywhere. Okay, so they obviously didn't optimize their listing, they didn't optimize their title with the bullet points. You're not seeing a whole lot of reviews or really good quality reviews on their products. So go for those areas where you can see that you can do a lot for them. Like you can go in, you can optimize their listing, and you can push them further up in the rankings for a lot. You don't want to go after the person who's already number one. Okay, do they really need you? You know, that's the kind of situation where you'd be setting yourself up for failure. So go for the areas that you're digging for their product and you cannot find it. Right? They have high BSRs, high bestseller rankings, like up in the tens of thousands in a lot of cases, and very few reviews. Now, the best way to start the conversation is going to be as the customer, like I was saying before. You want to evaluate their customer service. Okay, it's going to open up a dialogue with that company and be like, okay, well, who am I really talking to? Am I talking to a customer service person, or am I talking to the owner of the company? Are they the ones that are directly responding to it, or are they professional, or they actually have somebody who is answering, like who's on staff or whatever? All right, and that's going to show you on the front end that you're actually interested in the company, and it's going to allow you to elaborate on areas that are going to need improvement. Like, say, for instance, their customer service, it wasn't very professional, it wasn't templated, it didn't have either a personal touch to it or a personal feel, like their packaging on the product could have been better, so on and so forth. So a lot of different things that you can, or a lot of different areas that you can kind of discuss and kind of moving in the direction of making improvements. All right, so make sure you do in-depth research on the company. Be sure the quality of the product is worth your time. Okay, so the amount of products, we kind of discussed this a little bit before, go for high-quality products. All right, so how do you approach them? All right, I want to really touch on this because you want to be careful not to violate Amazon's terms of service for contact. If you purchase through Amazon, don't go immediately after you purchase it and start, like offering your services to them through the buyer seller messaging system. All right, that is directly against Amazon's terms of service. You're not supposed to be marketing or utilizing that as a marketing channel. Okay, so as a customer, though, you can go in and ask them questions about the product so that you get that customer service feedback. All right, so I don't advise jumping into the conversation about your services through the buyer-seller messaging system because it's very easy for them to report you. They can just click report a violation right there. Okay. So you can compliment their product quality and let them know that you're interested in a conversation about promoting their product through your own marketing context. You don't necessarily have to have a conversation with them right then and there about Amazon, but you can have a conversation with them about, hey, well, I have connections to where I can promote you through other e-commerce channels. Okay, and then it opens up the conversation to also promote them on Amazon.com. So you can get a phone number through the buyer messenger or buyer seller messaging system, or you can contact them through their actual website. Okay, and by having the conversation on Amazon, they already kind of know you as a customer. Okay, so they would be expecting potentially your contact through their website. So you can do that a couple of different ways where you just go directly to their website and start talking to them about it, or you can contact them initially through Amazon and see how they're responding on Amazon. Because I know in some cases I wind up contacting somebody on Amazon and I'll talk to a completely different person when I contact them on their website. Okay, so I do both. All right, I'll contact them on their website and I'll contact them through Amazon Buyer Messenger or Buyer Seller Messenger system. All right, so the start of the conversation is going to be talking about building up their brand on Amazon, and then you branch out to other methods of promotion through a network that you can build. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the branching out here in a second, but does everybody kind of grasp the idea of how you go about getting Amazon sellers or existing Amazon sellers to move into the direction of partnering with you? Got any questions that are lingering there?
I know I don't, Jack. I think you've been pretty straightforward with that. I think people just need to be cautious, like you said, and make sure they approach it, like you said, as a customer. I think that's really the key. But again, a lot of people asking, how do I find companies? I think Jack has over-delivered tonight. If your brain's not turning, if ideas aren't going on in your head right now, maybe you got to get your head checked. But other than that, Jack, I think you've been crystal clear about everything. I, for one, am certainly pumped about it. I know Smack talked a little bit about it a minute ago, so keep on going, Jack. I think you've been crystal clear.
All right. Okay, moving right along. All All right, so what you want to look for with these companies, when you can move forward with a company and when you want to run away or stay away. I spoke to this before, but I really want to kind of hone in on it. The quality products only. That is my personal preference. Again, you can, however you sleep at night is fine with me. Like you can go if you want to go, kind of promote products that aren't of a high quality. That's on you. Me personally, I go for companies that care about their customers. Okay, because I truly care about my reputation. I care about how I present myself. I care about whether I can go to a client and I tell them, hey, I'm going to get you results. Guess what? I'm going to do everything in my power to get them results. All right. So if a company is on Amazon and they're selling products and they're not, they don't care about the quality of that product, would you be okay with purchasing that product and it coming to you in the manner in which it does? Okay. Would you be okay with the quality of that product? If you purchased it and you paid your hard money for that product and it came to you, are you okay with promoting that? Okay, so that's kind of something that I want to make sure you understand that it's important because if you wind up going in a direction of promoting bad quality products, this is going to be something that doesn't last very long. Okay, because eventually the market is going to push you out. All right, it's going to push you out because you have low quality, high refund rates, you get bad reviews, and then the life cycle of that product basically winds up dying down. Okay, I look for sustainable opportunity, and basically I get that through only going with quality products. All right, so that's why you order the product to begin with. All right, and then you contact them, as a customer to evaluate their customer service. All right, so this is going to tell you a lot about the business that you're dealing with, and it's going to allow you to avoid, in my opinion, potential disasters of, like customer return rates and, getting really bad reviews on a product. So all the effort that you put in, all the time and money and that type of stuff, it can be ruined by a subpar product. All right, so making sure that you're setting realistic expectations for the client. I can't stress this enough either, okay, because this is going to be set basically how the client interprets the opportunity that you're putting in front of them. All right, and what is needed to be successful with Amazon. All right, you are going to have control over this to an extent, okay? Because some people are like, even if you spell it out to them and say, we're going to do this, and this, then they can come back to you and say, oh well, why do we have to do this and why do we have to do that? Or you don't want to be dealing with those types of clients. Okay, you want to deal with somebody who is completely perfect and they're completely fine with you going in the direction of promoting the product the way that it needs to be promoted. All right, so you want to give yourself plenty of time for the research phase, the optimization phase, and the promotion to achieve rankings and to achieve that momentum. All right, so for gaining sales and like increasing or tuning up sponsored ads and that type of stuff. All right, so you want to be direct and open about all the different promotions you're going to be doing, from sponsored ads to giveaways to like the need to get reviews and how you're actually going to do that, certain services that you're either paying for or like all these things need to be very clear, okay? And then they need to be willing to go in that direction, all right? So that if later on down the line they wind up saying, okay, well, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do this, be like, oh, well, why aren't we getting results yet? You could say, well, in the beginning, I clearly stated we need to do this, 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 and this. We needed to do giveaways. We needed to do sponsored ads. We needed to like add new variations and put a new product and put product into FBA. If you're telling them all these things on the front end and they agree to that and then they decide not to do them a little bit later on, all right, then you have a reason why you're not getting the type of results that you explained to them in the very beginning, okay? So make sure that you're managing those expectations by explaining all the things that are necessary in order to gain those positions within Amazon. Make sure all those things are direct and clear in the very beginning. Okay. All right. So next, you want to make sure that the advertising budget and promotion control, the promotion control is yours. All right, and make sure that they have an advertising budget. All right, that's part of every successful business. Every successful business has an advertising budget. Some are larger than others, but that's the point is they all have marketing budgets. Okay, so you got to make sure that you're on the same page with your client about what that marketing budget is. All right, so if they have 500 products and they're saying their marketing budget is $1,000, you're not going to be able to promote 500 products with $1,000. All right, so that's not realistic. So make sure that you're clear about the advertising budget that is necessary based on the types of products and the amount of products that you're going to be promoting. Okay, so you want to be sure to communicate to your client that the tests that you're going to be running with like giveaways and things like that, and then different pricing strategies. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But pricing strategies, image stacks, copy, variations, all the things that are necessary to test, you're going to need to be able to make those decisions at your discretion. You don't want to ask every 2 seconds, hey, can I do this? Hey, can I do this? Hey, can I do that? Hey, can I do this? Hey, can I do this? You're going to have limitations. Like, for instance, you're going to have a conversation with them about pricing. Say, hey, what is your rock bottom pricing? You don't want to go below this particular profit margin. You got to tell me that information. Your client has to tell you that information, okay? Because if you don't know what that lower limit is, then you can't effectively test. You're not going to be able to go in there and say, okay, well, I want to push the price up without them, throwing a hissy fit and saying, oh, no, you can't change the price, all right? I've had clients where I changed the price because we had this clear communication beforehand, be like, I change these things at my discretion. You can give me a lower limit. You can tell me I don't want to go below this part, and I'm not going to violate that, okay? You give me that lower limit, and then I'm going to go about my business by testing it out, testing different things out, like pricing, images, copy, and all this other type of stuff. I need my tests to be clean, all right? So you're going to need to have that control over this process, and you can't have anybody else interfering in that, and that includes the owner of the product. Okay. Otherwise, your tests aren't clean, and the promotion control, like you're not going to get the same results. Okay. So make sure you're clear at the very beginning about that type of stuff. Okay. All right. And then next, we're going to talk about growth potential. Okay. So this is a determining factor of like whether I want to actually go forward with the client or not. All right. So I've had issues with producers in the past for a particular product. They wouldn't change things. Like they wouldn't change packaging. They wouldn't change the process that they were going to actually create the product that I had them make in the very beginning. And that was detrimental to my product because I wound up getting negative reviews based on something that could have been corrected, that could have been fixed. And it was very, very simple, but because they had been doing something for so long, they weren't willing to go out and change it, okay? So you need to make sure you have a clear conversation with that client in the very beginning saying, okay, look, this is the potential that we have in front of us. Okay, these are, like we have these products, you have these products. We're going to need to do a lot of different things in order to make your business successful. Okay, we need to be able to go and launch additional products, launch additional bundles, launch additional, innovations in the marketplace, right? If they have manufacturers that build these products for them, all right, we need to have a conversation with them because here's an opportunity in the marketplace, and I'm telling you what the opportunity is, so you go talk to your manufacturer, have them make that product. That is the growth potential that you want to have at your disposal with the companies that you're trying to partner with. Okay. If it's somebody who's like, oh, well, they're kind of married to a product or a product line and they don't really want to branch out and do anything different, that can still be somewhat successful. So you may not necessarily turn your back on it if that's the only deal that's available to you. I'm not saying turn it down, but do understand that once you get past a certain point, you're going to want to look at companies and realize whether or not they have growth potential, okay? Whether or not they're going to listen to you and follow the suggestions that you make into new products and new innovations and new creations or new variations of their product. Like if you start getting reviews back on a specific, well, we wish it had this or we wish it had that, you're going to need to be able to have a discussion with your client, say, hey, let's change this, let's change that, and then they need to be open to it. They can't be so headstrong with their product and be like, no, well, it's that way for this reason and we don't want to change it. If you get enough customers that are telling you to change it, you may have customers that like it the original way, but if you have enough customers that are requesting a change, create another variation, all right? Create another innovation of that product and offer it as, hey, here's another style of product. It's a lot like the quality of our original one, but here's the difference, all right? So it allows you to kind of expand out the marketplace. It's good for you. It's good for their business. And it boggles my mind why I have to have this conversation with some clients, but if I'm telling you the way that, this is how we increase your business and you're closed down to it because you're so married to your product and so headstrong about your product in the direction that, okay, well, we built it this way because of this, and this, it boggles my mind that I'm offering them more money and they're turning it down, right? But you will run into those situations, okay? So make sure that you have those conversations early on with your potential client. That way you're ready for it later on, okay? So you know that this customer or this client is willing to do it or they're not willing to do it, so you can spend your time either telling them or if they're not willing to do it, not telling them and finding other clients or other potential manufacturers that would be willing to do something like that. Okay? So another thing is the branding potential, the opportunity to help the client grow outside of Amazon. Okay, so again, OMG is kind of a community where this isn't just Amazon. We're not just talking about Amazon. We are in this particular PowerPoint and partnering with Amazon, but there's a lot of other things that you can do for clients, okay? From YouTube video ranking, promotion, and that type of stuff, creating websites for them, moving them in the right direction in the search engines, doing certain levels of PPC. There's different courses on Shopify that are recommended within OMG and list building and that type of stuff. So those are also options that you have available to you, okay, to actually offer your client. But I mean, start with getting them results within Amazon first, all right? Build that relationship with them, and then offer those types of opportunities to them on the back end. But the point is that you want to know that they're open to that idea. Okay, so first things first, get them up on Amazon, get them rolling, and get as many products as you can up within Amazon and moving them in the right direction. But always be open to the conversation and having them, hey, we have other services that we can offer to you. That way you don't have to keep going out and finding 16, 17, 20, 300 different clients, whereas you can have like maybe 3 or 4, and you're not only building their brand on Amazon, but you're also building their brand off of Amazon. You're building their e-commerce, and that obviously grows your, whether you're doing a percentage with them or you're doing a fee, or that increases your revenue that you're making from that client. Okay. Is everybody grasping this so far? The kind of things that you want to think about prior to, like what the client criteria, what you're looking for, what you would want to kind of stay away from? Any questions on that?
I just wanted to point out one other thing, Jack. You got another heavyweight in the audience here. Mike Long is attending this webinar, so that should go just to show everyone how exciting this is to have Jack putting this together. Mike Long is also on the webinar, as is John Gill, so they are both fired up about this. I'm certainly fired up. And remember, guys, put your questions in the actual go to webinar questions area. That's where we'll be taking questions. Comments go in the OMG way just to show Jack your excitement and your appreciation for him putting all this together. So take it away, Jack. Keep going.
All right. Well, Mike. What day is it, Mike? It's not quite hump day, but it's almost hump day. All right. Wanted to kind of put that plug out there to old Mike Long. All right. So, if the client meets the criteria, here's some tips on how you want to, close the deal. All right. Once you have a potential client that's actually interested in what it is you have to offer, all right, and they pass your initial screening, obviously to get their contact information, that's a given. But don't seem overzealous with the deal. Okay. That in a lot of cases, I've seen that kill deals. All right. I was a little overzealous when I first started SEO. Okay, so I noticed in a lot of cases well, maybe. And then once I started kind of pulling back and rethinking the approach, making myself a little bit less accessible, and do this at your, I want to say, let me see if I can find a better way to say this. All right, so if you are contacting them 16 times in a day, not a good thing. Okay, so contact them, get straight to the point. Couple sentences in the email, send it off to them. If they want what you have, they're going to contact you. Okay, so don't give them, hey, that thing that we talked about. Hey, where are you at on that? Don't do that. Okay, with your first email, or the email that you actually start talking about, actually being, moving in a direction where, all right, we're going to promote your products on Amazon. All right, make sure you put it out to them, hey, when we deal with clients, all right, we are exclusive in the marketplace with that client. Right? I do not promote multiple products in the same category, competing products. I don't go from one client to the next and be like, okay, I'm going to promote this client's Garcinia cambogia and this client's Garcinia cambogia. I don't do that. All right? I know there's a few people that do, okay, but I'm not one of them. All right? I don't go out and say, all right, I'm going to promote this product and I'm going to promote their competing product. All right? There's that exclusivity in the marketplace. All right? You are of value to this company, okay? You need to be able to see that. As soon as you realize it and you have the confidence in the fact that you are valuable to that company, it is going to be relayed to that person that you're dealing with, okay? And then when you explain to them, hey, look, this is the type of deal that we do, and we are exclusive in the marketplace, all right? When I promote your products, I don't promote any other potential products. Now, there are opportunities in this particular, category in this particular area. I see the opportunities, And yes, I am talking to other companies, because when you go to trade shows and you talk to contract manufacturers, a lot of cases they're doing business with some of the same companies. Okay, or take for instance, if you're going to a home and garden trade show, do you think that there's a lot of competitors in that trade show? Absolutely, there are absolutely a lot of competitors, and you're talking to all of them. Okay, so if you give them the option to work with you exclusively on Amazon, off Amazon, you're the only one that does the SEO for that particular type of business, all right? That can be the difference between getting a deal done fast or waiting for months or weeks or whatever to get that partner to pull the trigger. All right, so you're going to want to explain the potential and discuss how your deal structure is going to work, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more here in a second as far as like monthly retainers, percentages of sales with both. But in that email, like you're not going to want to make that first email of getting them to make a decision. You're not trying to make this a bulky email. You're just trying to get an answer from them. Yes, and then you can start talking about how you would structure the deal. Okay, but make sure again that you're clear about the marketing budgets, the giveaways, sponsored ads, any additional promotions that you have set up for them, so that they're going to have those realistic expectations. All right, you're managing the expectations, but then there's also the side of it you don't want to give away too much. Okay, like kind of what I'm doing in this webinar. All right, giving away the farm. All right, you don't want to give away the farm to your potential clients. You don't want to tell them all the little secrets that you're going to be. Oh, we're going to go in and we're going to do this type of sponsored ad promotion, this type of sponsored ad promotion. You're not going to tell them every little aspect of what you're going to do. Now, if they ask for that, run away. Like if they're asking for all that different information, well, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? I don't like working with those types of clients. I like working with types of clients that are going to say, okay, how are you going to, you're going to increase my sales? Okay, great. How are you going to do that? All right, I'm going to do it with giveaways, sponsored ads, and just promotion. If they start asking for detail, I don't give away my proprietary secrets. Okay, I wouldn't go off and do that with, or they wouldn't likely do that with me either. If they had a proprietary secret for like how they went and got certain patents or whatever, they're not going to be able to give me the phone, so I'm not going to do the same with them. All right, now I can allude to a little more depending on who I'm talking to, okay? But you don't want to give them the entire marketing strategy. Does that make sense? Give me a 1 if that makes sense. And give me a 2 if you're a little confused on that. You got 3 people. Okay, 3 people, still 3 people.
You got about 2 more people in the actual Facebook group.
That's fine. All right, so let's see where we're at in this section. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the retainer percentage of growth. This is going to be a business decision. Okay, this is going to be entirely up to you and the conversations, like where you see the conversation going with your client. Okay, so when I say personal preference, it's also kind of business preference, right? How do you want to build your business? Do you want to build it on you're establishing equity in multiple companies, or do you want to build it to where you're just offering services at a fee, okay? Or do you want to do a blend of both, all right? Sometimes you can push a client away by asking for a percentage of their net profits, okay? But one of the things or a few of the things that I consider when deciding whether I want to do a retainer percentage or both is going to be the number of products they have, all right? Obviously, if they have a lot of products, then I'm going to consider a lower percentage that I'm going to take. But in almost every case, if I'm doing a lot of products, it's going to have to be a percentage. All right, because a $300 to $500 setup fee for each product, I'm going to be making this company a lot of money. All right, and I'm not going to take all the proprietary information that I have and just give that over to them for a $300 to $500 setup fee per product. Okay, now that may be a lot of money to some of you when it comes down to it. Like if you're doing 500 products for a company, that could be a pretty big deal, and it could potentially move into something else. But I like to have it potentially move into something else from the beginning, meaning I have a percentage of net profits of that company for going in and doing all that work. All right, another thing I consider as far as the percentage that I'm at is going to be the average price point. I mean, if I'm dealing with a $20 product versus a product that's $300, there's obviously going to be a difference in the percentage that I'm willing to take there. Okay, so obviously if it's at the $20 mark and all of their products are around there, then I'm definitely moving more towards the 50% of net profits from their Amazon sales or any other sales that I am a part of. So if I build them a Shopify store or I promote them on Shopify, I'm definitely going to, or any other e-commerce platform for that matter, I'm going to have a percentage of each one of those marketing platforms. Okay. So average price point is obviously a determining factor in what direction I go. Now, growth potential is also another side. When we're talking about growth potential as being one of the things you consider about whether taking a client on or not. If this client has, they have certain proprietary products and they have the potential to make an infinity more proprietary products, then I will also consider taking a lower profit percentage on that based on that growth potential. Okay, so let's say they have like 10 products on the front end. All right, I would start out at potentially like a 50% net profit, and then if they grow up to like the 200, 300, 400, 500 product area, then I may consider writing that in the contract that once they get over a certain threshold of products, I would reduce my percentage. Okay, but I don't always have to do that. Okay, like it just depends on the company that I'm dealing with. In almost every case that I deal with companies, we're at a solid percentage and I don't have to tier it down. Okay, but there is that potential that you would do that if you see the growth potential with that company. Okay. Another thing to consider is whether they have an existing presence on Amazon, right? If they're already on Amazon, they've already done some of the work. So basically, if you come in and you're doing promotion on products that are already there, I know a lot of people have questions about, well, do I take a percentage of their first month's sales? Do I take a percentage of their first 3 months' sales? And because they're already making sales, all right, why would I be getting 30 to 50% of that? Okay. You can tier it out. So for, like, say, the first month you get 10%. All right, and then the next month you get 20, next month you get 30, next month you get 40. Okay, so you build up to the percentage that you want to be at, and it's all based on, like, say, like a performance clause. All right, so there are performance clauses in a lot of the deals that I do that's based on if I am not getting that client results, then they can terminate the contract. Okay, but otherwise I typically have them on a 5-year term. All right, where I'm the only person that can promote their products on Amazon for them. All right, and I'm usually between the 30 to 50% net profit. And I don't do setup fees. Like I don't do, because this is something that when I have conversations with my clients, I'm saying, look, I'm all in. I am invested in your business. I don't take retainers. I don't take setup fees. I go in, I take a percentage of your net profit, right? That motivates me to make sure that your company goes in the right direction. If your company doesn't make more sales, I don't make more money, right? If your company makes more sales, then I make more money. All right, so we're both invested in it from a standpoint of they're happy when they make more sales, I'm happy when they make more sales. Is that making sense to everyone? All right, looks like it's making sense. Okay, so some of the ways that you can structure the deal when you go through is like if they don't have an Amazon presence, all right, you can minimize your risk by doing something along the lines of a $300 to $500 setup fee per product. So you're going in, you're acquiring their UPC, and you're actually optimizing the listing and setting them up. Now, they would be paying for like getting the images and like any like actual shipping. If you're shipping into like FBA or any type of labeling, they're going to be paying for all of that, right? And that's not included in the $300 to $500 setup fee. We're only talking about you going in and optimizing the listing for keywords, like actually doing keyword research and going in and optimizing the listing, all right? That's the $300 to $500 setup fee, plus a 30 to 50% net profit. Now, you can kind of go a little bit further down, like say, for instance, when you look at the number 3 down here, due to Amazon Client Consulting, you could do a monthly retainer saying that you'll cover a specific number of products plus 5 to 10% of their net profits as they continue to grow. Okay, so but there's a few different ways that you can do that. But if they don't have an Amazon presence, you have to understand that that's going to be a lot of work, especially if you're going with the like clients that have 10, 15, 20 products. All right, if you're only going with a client that has 1 or 2 products, you may be able to kind of go a little bit down on that fee, okay, because it wouldn't take you as much time. But if they don't have an Amazon presence, you have a lot of work cut out for you, okay? So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. All right, so existing Amazon sellers, you can have no setup fee and a percentage. And again, you can tier this out based on, like, if they already have existing sales. You can have it in the performance clause that you're going to, like, as long as their business is increasing by the time that you come on and you're pushing it in the right direction, then your percentage is going to grow over time, okay? And then you and your client can decide at, how quickly that actually happens, okay? So there's also the retainer only. I kind of covered the new to Amazon client consulting, where you can do a monthly retainer, and that could be like very similar to SEO, where you're charging them $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, depending on how many products they have. And then 5 to 10% of their net profits as kind of a bonus and an incentive for you to do better. Okay. And then the retainer only monthly covering a specified number of products. Let's say if you were doing $5,000 a month, or I'll do 10 products for $5,000 a month. I will actively promote 10 products for $5,000 a month. All right. And then you can get a monthly increase on a per product basis. So if they want to add another 10 products, then you can do it at perhaps a discount where, okay, well, I'll give you those for $4,000 a month. So you're at $9,000 a month for doing 20 products. Okay. And the market is obviously going to dictate this. Like if they're at 20 products that don't really have a lot of opportunity on Amazon, you're going to need to be realistic with them and tell them, hey, well, there's not really a whole lot of search volume with this product. What else do you have? So that's why it goes in the very beginning when you're looking at these opportunities. Is there enough search volume to warrant you asking for these types of prices? Okay, so you're kind of trying to pick them off. You're snipering off the bigger fish that has a lot of potential within Amazon for you to go and ask for $5,000 retainers. All right. Okay, so let's say now you actually have the client. All right, what is going to be the fastest path to getting results that are measurable? All right, so some of the ways that you likely already know about, and the fastest way to profitability is going to be price point evaluation, doing strategic pricing or strategic testing on their price points. All right, finding the best conversion rates at specific price points. Doing professional image creation, actually presenting their product in a more professional manner. Doing data extraction from if they already have current sponsored ads that they're running, and you can optimize their listing copy for keywords that are the most profitable. They have the lowest advertising cost of sale. And in a lot of cases, when I go into client products, I will see this. I will see they have keywords that are at around like 5% advertising cost of sale, right, within their sponsored ads, but that keyword is like tucked away down in their product description, and they're not really focusing on that keyword within their product title or their product bullet points. Okay, so it's kind of tucked away, and they're not really trying to focus on that keyword, even though it's a keyword that performs really, really well for them. And why wouldn't they try to rank for that keyword? So data extraction, getting a lot of information about that particular product is actually very important into getting insight into how the market is responding to their product on Amazon. Okay. So adding product variations and bundling certain products that are going to make sense, and it can be with additional brands that they have access to. It doesn't necessarily have to be their brand. Okay. So in the bundling side, now variations, adding different product variations within their own brand is something that I highly recommend, and utilizing our flat files to actually bring those products together. That way your marketing efforts, like if you're doing any sort of reviews or you're doing, like if you're bringing together products like 10 products, and each of them have one review. If you combine them all together, now each one of them appears to have 10 reviews. Okay, so adding those variations can be very beneficial to you in reducing the cost of their promotion on the front end, right? And then obviously benefiting you from across the board on certain keyword placement, and then additional sales of price comparison and price testing against itself. Okay, I like setting certain prices next to each other in variations, and I'm sure everybody's seen that where you actually list a product, or you see a product on Amazon that has different variations side by side by side. You can place some of those prices next to each other to your advantage. Okay, because somebody sees a higher price at, let's say, $19.99, the one right next to us at $17.99. You're profitable at both. They may go for the $19.99, or psychologically they could go for the $17.99 because they feel like they're getting a better deal. Okay, that's one of the things that helps you out with product variations, and it can get you into a profitable situation very, very quickly in dealing with clients. Okay, so bid adjustment for keywords with high advertising cost of sale. I go into a lot of sponsored ads, and I wind up seeing some of these sponsored ads being at ridiculously high numbers. Okay, and their cost per click is at like, well, let's just do a hypothetical here. Say their cost per click is at $3, all right, and their bid is at, say, $3.50. All right. If I'm looking at their average cost per click is at $3, and then their advertising cost of sale is at 100%. All right. If I want to bring them to a specific percentage, like say their profit margin is at 50% for ease of math. If I bring their bid down to $1.50, all right, then I've effectively brought their advertising cost of sale down to their profit margin. Okay. But if I bring it down to say $1, then I can potentially bring it down to where it's an actual profitable, a profitable ad. Okay. Now, I know some people might look at it and be like, well, if you dropped it, would you get less impressions? Potentially, all right? But you know what that keyword is performing at. So if you know what that keyword is performing at and you bring it down to $1, do you really care if you get impressions at a keyword that was going at 100% advertising cost of sale? If you let it run at a price point that actually makes sense, okay, to where it makes sense for your profit margin and advertising cost of sale, and you let it run, if you're getting less impressions, it just means you can still be profitable with that keyword, all right? You can still bring that advertising cost of sale down, all right? And that kind of strategy can immediately bring in sales that are actually profitable and beneath the advertising cost that you're spending on sponsored ads, okay? So I go in and I see a lot of keywords that are like this, okay, where you have really high advertising cost of sale, and if you just bring that down to where it makes sense for the profit margin that particular product is at, then that can immediately bring in sales that are profitable for your client, okay? So you can do things that are like boosts with giveaways. That's a very common strategy within OMG, like brute force, doing keyword optimized listings and giveaways on the canonical, right? And that can increase your rankings. And then getting review acquisition for better conversions, like 20 to 25 at least, in my opinion, you need to be over that in order to get realistic conversion rates that you can pretty much bank on over time when you're doing all your price point testing. Okay. Now, one of the things that I recommend is you don't do all of the above at the same time, meaning you don't test price point at the same time you're testing an image stack and doing boosts with giveaways, because it's not really going to give you a clear picture of whether that price point evaluation works. Okay, so you're going to need to understand the listing better than your client does, which means you're going to need to know exactly what worked as far as promotion and what didn't. Okay, so you have to be patient and your client has to be patient, because in the long run it's definitely going to pay off. Okay. All right, so without further ado, we're going to get into a little bit of sponsored ad techniques. And forgive me if I'm going fast. This is going to be recorded, but I just want to make sure that we have time at the end for some of the questions. So I'm going to get into the sponsored ads portion of the fastest way to profitability. Okay, so this is one of the techniques that I've been using as of late, and it's been working really, really well. All right, so this is my own little, word for it, micro bid, micro budget method. I'm going to coin that phrase, trademark, not to be used without the permission of Ricky Bobby, if anybody understands the reference. All right, so moving into the actual goal of what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get a quick sales increase at a very low advertising cost of sale. Okay. Now, I want to make sure everybody understands that this really works when you have a lot of products, or when a client has a lot of products. It works either way, where you'll get decent sales, but you'll get a much higher volume of sales when you have a lot of products that you're doing this for. So the reason why we try to go in and find clients that have 20, 30, 40 products is so that we can go in and do this kind of thing to where we get a lot of sales at a very cheap advertising cost in the very beginning when we first start promoting them. Okay, so we have time for other things to kind of to have a positive effect on their listing, like the optimization of it, tuning up other sponsored ads outside of this micro bid, micro budget method. And other things like doing giveaways and getting those reviews up and doing price testing. Some of those things can take time and they need patience. But this right here is a way to get them kind of believing in you and giving you the time to do what's necessary in order to push them in the right direction and kind of make it to where it's a long-term client and a long-term deal for you. Okay. So what I typically do is I'll go in I do one product at a time. All right. I'm going to create a low budget, meaning less than $10, do $5 to $10, and I'm going to do a low bid on that budget in an automatic campaign. All right. And that bid is usually starts off at 5 cents. Okay. And you're going to do this for all existing products and all new products that you create. Okay. You're going to allow the campaign to run for 3 to 7 days while you're monitoring the impression and click activity. Okay. In some cases these spark, in some cases they don't. So if you get in there and you want to putting in a low budget and a low bid and you don't get any impressions, then it's not the end of the world. All right. It works on some products and it doesn't work on others right away. Now, I've always gotten these to spark at a certain point. Okay, I might have to bring that campaign down and basically erase it or archive it and then put it back up in a kind of a new campaign, really with the same strategy. But I've always got it sparked for every single product that I've done. I've always got it sparked at a certain point. Now, it winds up in some cases being at a little bit of a higher bid, which we're about to get into in a second. Okay, so if you don't have any impressions on that first 3 to 7 days, you want to increase the bid by 3 to 7 cent increments. Okay, And then you want to continue to monitor the advertising cost of sale and the impressions that you're getting. Okay, so you're going to kind of do this over 3 to 7 day increments. You're going to want to monitor this every day. All right, it's not like you're going to be making a lot of spending 5 cents and making $60 unless your product is $60. But you can spend $3 or $4 and you wind up getting like $100 worth of sales. All right, I'll do that all day long. All right, typically most people's profit margins they actually make a lot of sense when it comes to these types of numbers. Okay, so you can pretty much be dealing with any type of profit margin and be profitable with these types of campaigns. Okay. So, like I said from before, from a sales increase standpoint, this process is going to work best with several products. 10 plus is typically what your clients are going to see, like really noticeable results if you have more than 10 products. All right, but there's more to the method than just doing like getting these sales. Okay, so what I like to do this for is for data extraction. All right, I'm not a huge fan of keyword tools. I do believe that they have their place. Okay. And it gives you data about a product if you're guessing, okay? But it's all still best guess until you have a little bit more data from Amazon itself. Okay, so if I'm going with Merchant Words or Keyword Inspector or Google Keyword Tool or any keyword tool, it's not really going to give me the data that a sponsored ads campaign can give me. Okay, so by doing this, like utilizing this micro-bid, micro-budget method. All right, I'm going to be extracting keyword data. I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, so you're finding soft spots in the market here. Okay, so you're going to go to that micro-bid, micro-budget campaign that you created. All right, you're going to dig all the way down to the keyword section. You're going to download the report for that specific campaign. Now, let's say you were getting impressions at the 5-cent budget or the 5-cent bid at the $10 budget. All right, you're going to want to extract those keywords, and then you're going to prioritize them based on the amount of sales. Like if you got any sales from those bids, and then if you got clicks on specific keywords, and then the keywords that you got impressions on. Okay, and that's going to give you data on keywords that you can get traffic from with 5-cent bids. Okay, is everybody kind of grasping that? If you extract the data from an automatic campaign, and this will make sense only if you really have dug into reports from sponsored ads. So if you haven't done sponsored ads, don't go in there and start doing this type of stuff. Like go in and actually get familiar with sponsored ads first, and then come back and re-listen to this process. Okay, so you're going to want to extract keywords that you've gotten impressions on and potentially sales. Like in some cases you'll get sales, in some cases you won't. Okay, but in pretty much every case that I wind up getting any sort of traffic, I'm still making sales. Okay, and then you're going to prioritize it based off clicks. So my top priority is going to be the keywords that I got impressions or that I got sales on at a 5-cent bid. Okay, that's going to be at the very top. Next, beneath that is going to be keywords that I got clicks on at a 5-cent bid. And then beneath that is going to be keywords that I get impressions on at a 5-cent bid. Okay, and that's going to be my 5-cent bid column. Next, I'm going to raise the budget, or raise the bid, I'm sorry, I said budget in there, but bid by 5 to 7 cents, and I'm going to allow it to run for another 3 to 7 days. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to extract keywords and then prioritize them in the same manner as before, but now it's going to be keywords that I got sales on and clicks and impressions at a 8 to 12 cent bid. Okay, now I want to make sure I remove duplicates here, okay, because I'll still likely be getting impressions on the whole 5-cent column in the 8 to 12 cent column. Right, so I want to make sure I remove duplicates because I was able to get impressions at 5 cents from the duplicate keywords, but I was able to get more keywords at the 8 to 12 cent mark. Okay, and you're going to keep doing that, increasing the budget by 5 to 7 cents and extracting new keywords at each new bid level. Okay. Now, when you're extracting these keywords, you're not only kind of getting an idea of like how low you can go for certain keywords and certain bids, but you're finding soft spots in the market. Okay, you're finding keywords that likely don't have a whole lot of promotion going to them, and a lot of people aren't focusing on them from an optimization standpoint. Okay, so in pretty much every case that I go in, and I find these types of keywords that are around the 5 to 30 cent bid kind of bracket, I guess. I find keywords that nobody is targeting at all in any listing that I'm looking for. Okay, like areas in the market that are completely unsaturated. all right, that get impressions, that get searches. Is everybody seeing the value here with this particular method? Are we confused about this method?
Let's see if anybody's seen it, Jack. I'm in the OMG way looking to see if people are actually seeing the value. Let's put a hashtag value if you guys are understanding what Jack's saying. It might not actually make sense the first time around, but remember, we are recording this, so you will be able to go over it time and time again as much as you want. Sometimes our brain processes information differently every single time we take in information, and that's just the simple fact that we're learning this. So those people that are brand new, this might not make sense right now, but trust me, once you get a PPC campaign going, you will understand. Those of you guys that are PPC veterans, you guys should be hashtagging whatever I said, either Jack, Little Jack, or what's the last one that I actually just called out? Opportunity, Jack, a lot of make sense, a lot of perfect sense, a lot of hashtag yes, a lot of hashtag value. Put hashtag value if you see value in this. They're coming out, Jack, so people are definitely fired up about this. Like I said, guys, the first time it might not make sense, but every single time you listen to this over and over again, it's going to make more sense and it's going to pop ideas into your head. Jack is showing us the very way he tests PPC campaigns, and you guys should really think this is actually epic information. I see a lot of big names that are actually, even Eric Routman. Eric Routman's commenting on it. Eric Routman's been around the block for quite a while. Even John Gill's making comments, Jack, so that should make you fired up. Smack is in there. I see Frank Goldsmith. I see a lot of high-level Amazon sellers that know their shit, and they're making comments. Jack, you should be just as fired up as all these guys are. Take it away again.
All right. Hey, Sandy, I'm gonna address a question real quick. It says, yes, but how do you get the keywords from an automatic campaign? Typically, from an automatic campaign, all you have to do is go down as far as you would from a manual campaign. You'll be able to extract those keywords just by saying get keywords. Okay. So you'll go to the automatic campaign. You'll dig down into the actual ad group, and then you'll have the option to click on the keyword tab, and you'll have a download button there. But you can also go into advertising reports, and you'll be able to extract it there from a campaign performance report as well, and it'll give you the exact campaign that that those keywords came from. All right, and then I think it's Eugene. I think I may be butchering that name. 5-cent bids or 5-cent bids. Yes, we're not increasing the budget. All right, we're keeping the budget at a micro budget. Okay. If you wind up getting this is kind of a situation where I haven't seen this happen yet. All right, but if I'm at a $10 per day budget and I was able to hit that $10 per day budget at the level of the ACOS that I'm seeing from this method, as I'm seeing below 5% advertising cost of sale on every single campaign that I am running this one. Okay. At least from let me rephrase that. I'm sorry, I don't want to tell you guys inaccurate information. When I start increasing the budgets to get data extraction here, all right, to get these soft spots in the market, I go a little above that 5%, right, as I start to increase the bid. But with this process right here, where it's just a quick sales increase, if I leave it at the area where I start getting impressions, so like say for instance at the 5-cent bid, I was not able to get impressions, and I increase it 3 cents. And I started getting impressions at 8 cents per click. If I leave it at that because I was getting impressions, I don't have a single campaign that is above 5% advertising cost of sale with this method. If I do that for multiple products, I hope I'm just going to stop talking about it because I'm giving away the fun. So that is an extremely powerful situation. All right, the 5% advertising cost of sale is a very, very good advertising percentage. Okay, so from the data extraction standpoint, as I start to increase the bids, then yes, I get up above the 5% advertising cost of sale, but I'm gathering data here. This is all just about data. Okay, I'm trying to extract keywords at specific levels so that I can then later on extract those keywords and analyze them in Amazon search, find areas that are the most vulnerable to where I can actually optimize my listing to basically take down those keywords, okay? All right, so you're going to optimize the listing for the keywords in order of priority, all right? So for the keywords that you got sales on, obviously that's going to be your top priority keywords that you're going to want to promote. And then ones that we were able to actually get a click-through, because that means that it was somehow relevant to a person who was doing that search. And then the next most important keywords would be impressions. Okay, so the reason why we do that priority list on the front end is so that we know the most valuable keywords for our listing on the front end. Okay, and we can continue doing tests like this because these types of things will change over time as your listing changes, because your listing will change. All right, certain things about your listing, like the price points that you're at. So you can do these tests over and over and over again to continue extracting data back from your listing to see what Amazon thinks about your listing, how they feel it's optimized for specific keywords. You can continue running these types of tests over and over and over again to continue evaluating your listing as it progresses and as it gets that historical data from Amazon. All right, so here's another thing with the automatic campaign. In some cases, I wind up seeing completely ridiculous keywords that Amazon winds up throwing in there. Okay, so make sure the keywords, like even if you randomly got a sale on, I don't know, let's say a coffee mug, and somebody searched telephone, and for whatever reason your coffee mug showed up. It has nothing to do with a telephone. If you made a sale off that, don't go optimize your listing for telephone. Use common sense here, all right? You're selling a mug, all right? If you randomly made a sale on the keyword telephone, don't go optimizing your listing for telephone, all right? I hope that makes sense, because you'd be surprised at some of the keywords that sometimes Amazon will spit back in these automatic campaigns, okay? So make sure the keyword that you're prioritizing is relevant to your listing. All right, so you use that keyword data a little bit later on down the line, like so after you've gotten to a point where you're ready to move into sponsored ads, you're going to use that keyword data to create broad match manual campaigns, okay? And broad match for tonight is the only thing that I'm going to discuss because of the fact that we do have those changes with phrase and exact match, okay? I don't want to give out information. We are still seeing, the only difference that we've really seen in phrase and exact match is a decrease in impressions, okay? We're still pretty much around the same advertising cost of sale with the process that we were using before, all right? But we'll get more in depth to what that process is once I'm a little more clear on what's really going on and what they intend to do as this quote-unquote fix for the phrase and exact match process, okay? So they really kind of screwed the pooch for me here. So give me a week or two in order to kind of continue badgering sponsored ads, like all of their support personnel, and trying to dig into what their developers are doing to quote-unquote fix the problem. But so you take this keyword data that you're getting from the micro-bid, micro-budget keywords. You're going to take it and you're going to put it into a broad match manual campaign. And you're going to set the budget that received the impressions from the auto campaign. So if you have that 5-cent list, you're going to take that and put it into a manual campaign, and you're going to set the bid at 5 cents. All right? I'm sorry, I keep putting it as budget in here. It's the bid. You're going to set the bid that received the impressions from the auto campaign. So I have that 5 cent, and let's say I moved it up to 8 cents after that. I'm going to put the keywords in there, and I'm going to put the associated bid as my manual bid. Okay? Now, do understand that once you start getting the impressions and start getting the sales, then you can start increasing that bid incrementally just to see how many more impressions you get above your original baseline. So as I start with that broad match campaign, all right, and I put it at that bid that wound up getting the impressions, then I'm just going to start segmenting it out. All right, I can take it, let it go 7 days, and I say I get 10,000 impressions over those 7 days at the 5 cent bid. Okay. The next week, what I'll do is I'll increase it to 8 cents, and I'll see whether or not I wind up getting more impressions during that 7-day period. If I got more impressions from that 7-day period and I kept a decent advertising cost of sale, then what I'll do is I'll keep it at that 8 cents, and I'll test it above, like say go up to 11 cents. But the point is I'm incrementally testing it. I'm testing it very strategically so that I see, like, step by step, this is how many impressions I got at this bit, this is how many impressions I got at this bit. But when you initially use that micro bid, micro budget process, you're seeing the keywords that you can get traffic on or impressions on at the lowest possible bid, and you're letting Amazon tell you that information. Okay? So it's extremely valuable, not only from a standpoint of being able to know exactly what bids you need to be at when you throw in your manual campaign, because that first page bid crap, I don't like it. Like, I don't like it because in a lot of cases you're way overspending, when you could be getting the same amount of impressions or similar amount of impressions for a lot cheaper. Okay? So don't be afraid to test that, and don't be afraid to decrease your bids below that first page bid, because if you're using that, that's basically Amazon telling you, hey, give me more money, even though I would give you impressions at 5 cents. Give me 38 cents, you know. So it's kind of like well, I don't want to use any. It's basically Amazon telling you, give me more money, so I send you more traffic. All right, at least that's what you believe. But don't believe that. Test it out. All right, test it out at that lower budget or that lower bid, and then incrementally go up and see whether or not those higher bids actually give you more impressions, and see whether it's worth it. All right. So if you were getting the same amount of, don't just look at the impressions. Look at the impressions, the clicks, and the advertising cost of sale. Okay. So look at all of those things. Look at the whole picture. All right. Don't just focus on one area. Focus on all of it. The whole picture for that particular keyword that points to that particular product. Okay. And as I said before, more sponsored ads optimization is still to come. We're going to be talking about broad to phrase to exact match, the process and the proper segmenting of product variations, and the way to actually build out a campaign correctly. There are a few things that are different from what we did in the over-the-shoulder series with Elite Serum, but it's mostly structure, all right, and the fact that we now have phrase and exact match to boot. So we're going to be going into the more intricate details on that and when to actually progress into it and how. All right. So, but for now, this is going to get you started in the right direction with sponsored ads, keyword data extraction, and actually moving in the direction of getting clients more sales very quickly. All right. So, how's everybody feeling about the whole sponsored ads? Is there any questions? Let's see what we got.
Everybody's looking stoked, Jack. We just got some cute stickers. We know how much we love stickers. Stoked. This is awesome. A lot of hashtag values. A lot of people just a lot of blown minds. We got Jackie Chan gifs and images with a blown mind. We got guys with their heads cut off and a volcano exploding out of their head. So everybody's super pumped. We got about 10 more minutes here, Jack, and then we're going to start in the lightning round with some questions so we can end this all. And, everybody's just pumped. Look at these more stickers coming in. Let's do this. We got some monkeys fist pumping. We got all sorts of pretty interesting stuff here. A lot of people hashtag fired up.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to just kind of get into what I was talking about. This is the last thing that I'm going to cover. So it was telling me basically, hey, you got 2 more minutes. You got to stop talking. But blinder removal. I always like talking about removing the blinders. And this is a conversation that Mike and I had when we were in Fort Lauderdale. We were just kind of mulling over some things, and we were talking about taking the blinders off and not restricting yourself, not limiting yourself. A lot of the problems that I have with some clients is the fact that they are too limiting on themselves. Okay. They wind up getting tunnel vision, and that's something that I want to make sure that each and every one of you that are listening here tonight, you don't get that tunnel vision. Okay. This is a stepping stone, all right? Amazon client consulting is a stepping stone into much larger things, okay? So when we're talking about removing the blinders, we're talking about you seeing the bigger picture here. We're talking about you seeing the potential of what you can do with clients past Amazon, outside of Amazon. Okay, I know I've alluded to it. I've talked about it a lot within this presentation, saying that all the things that are available to you here within the OMG group, all the things that you can do to kind of pull out a full service promotion for a client once you've actually gotten the results on Amazon. Okay, Amazon, there's like going to trade shows and like having conversations with people. I can't count how many times I have conversations that as soon as I mention the word Amazon, these people are pitched over and over and over and over again about the latest and greatest social media, latest and greatest SEO. And even though what you tell them may be true because of the fact that you're in this group and you can actually deliver on it, they've heard it. They've heard it because everybody else is promising the same thing. They may not be able to deliver the way that you can, but they're promising them the same thing. Okay? So it's almost like you're no different, right? When you come out and you say something like Amazon.com, that their eyes are so much different. There's a much different reaction to how they react to you and how they start treating you, and because at that point you can offer them something that other people aren't. So that's your foot in the door, okay? And you show them the results. So once you have that client, you're giving them results, you're increasing their business, and you have the opportunity to offer more services to them, like web design, content creation, building out their e-commerce sites, running their SEO, and doing, like if you have experience within PPC, like Google AdWords, Bing Ads, and other other types of advertising that we won't get into tonight. But there's all sorts of different types of advertising that you can get into, and as long as you have their funnel built out correctly, you're gaining so much knowledge from doing the types of things that I was explaining doing before, the different types of the ad creation, not ad creation, but the keyword extraction, and knowing like the price testing, and dealing with the different listings that you're going to be comparing against their competition. You're going to learn so much about their niche and so much about their products, and you're going to learn so much about like the reviews that are being written on their products and what's important to these clients. You're going to be learning so much about their business as you grow their Amazon seller account, that you're going to be a shoo-in for this type of stuff. You're going to be able to see, like, they're already paying for this type of stuff. They're already paying in most cases for web design and content creation and somebody to build out their Shopify site or make videos for them and then rank them, doing their social media management and advertising and trying to get Facebook sales and things like that and building a list. They're already paying for that type of stuff, all right? But you're going to be able to go and you're going to be able to see that the people that are marketing them don't know the first thing about their products, okay? They haven't marketed it the way that you have. They haven't gone in and dug into the data and looked at the keywords and looked at the reviews and looked at the product to the level that you're going to be very intimate with their product. You're going to know the ins and outs like nobody else. And in a lot of cases, you're going to know it better than they do, all right, because of how you're going to be doing the promotion. And that sets you light years ahead of anybody else that's coming along offering web design or content creation or, hey, I'm going to do your SEO, because of the fact that, one, you've gotten the results. You prove that what you tell them and the way that you're going to promote them, you prove that it works, okay? And then you're going to take that same thought process and you're going to apply it to the other levels of promotion that you can offer them, okay? And not only does that mean, more money for you and them, but that means a more cemented relationship. Like, say, tomorrow, Amazon decides to, we're not going to allow you to sell on Amazon anymore. That'd be detrimental to your client, I'm sure. That's not something that anybody would want. Like, I know I wouldn't want that. That'd be a bad thing. But it doesn't mean I don't have other things to fall back on, okay? I have other things that I can offer my clients, all right? So don't be one-dimensional in this process. You can start off by doing it this way. You can start off by staying within Amazon and moving your clients on, like, promotion on Amazon, moving them up in the rankings and stuff like that. But make sure you diversify with it, all right? Make sure you offer them, those other ways to promote their business, and do so relatively quickly after you've gotten the results. You should be able to realistically get your clients' results within 3 to 6 months. All right, and with the methods that I was telling you now, like, you can realistically show them like hard data that, hey, I am increasing. As soon as I came on, I started increasing it. You can show them the numbers. You can say, this is what I've done for you, especially when you're playing with sponsored ads. All right, it's kind of tough to do that from an organic standpoint, which is why I like sponsored ads so much for clients. All right, I can go in and I can say, okay, well, we did this, 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 and this, and these are the sales that we got directly from that promotion, okay? And then you can show them month over month the increases, all right? So it winds up snowballing, all right, on Amazon. It definitely winds up snowballing, especially if you continue to kind of push this out and you pay attention to what I was saying before with the growth potential, all right? It's not solely on you for their 50 products that they have or their 10 products that they have. If you're just promoting those products and that's it, there's going to be a ceiling, okay? There's going to be a place where you can't really extract any more sales out of Amazon, okay? It's not going to happen within the first, few months for sure. You have plenty of things that you can test out. But at the same time, you want to see that they're willing to do their part as far as the growth, okay? So that's why we were talking about that before, is like the growth potential, all right? Month over month, if they're in this game with you, month over month, if you continue doing what it is that you're doing, the promotion methods you're doing on Amazon, and the way that I lined them out, or the way that I explained them here in this presentation, and you promote their products and they launch new products with you, there's no way in hell you don't increase your month over month over month over month, okay, except for maybe around Christmas time. Okay, January you might have a little bit of a lull. But the point is, you're gonna continue to increase their business year over year over year over year, and then even more so if you go in this direction where you're basically the one-stop shop for all of their promotional needs. Okay, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have to take it all on yourself. Okay, You don't have to be the one that does every single thing here. Their web design, their content creation, their Shopify build. You don't have to be the person that does each and every. Remember, you're in a community that has a lot of experts. Network, talk to each other. All right, have conversations with each other, saying, "Hey, I got this client, and I know you're the guy to come to and talk about PPC, or I know you're the guy to talk to about SEO. I know you're the guy to talk to about Shopify. I know you're the guy to talk to about video creation and promotion. Hey, I got this client that really would benefit from something like that." Okay, so that networking side of things, I can't tell you how important that would be to you expanding what you offer your clients. Okay, so. All right, Liz, I think that is, well, we're going to do a quick recap on the things. I like to kind of end it off with what we learned. We started off with what we learned and end it off with what you learned. 3 best ways to find potential partners to launch on Amazon. We talked about trade shows, local business contract manufacturers, local importers, local specialty stores, looking for local suppliers and local manufacturers, and then existing Amazon sellers by going to Amazon departments and then looking at specific brands. What you're going to want to look for when you're deciding whether to partner with a company, we talk about the quality of products, and in my personal opinion, it's extremely important. All right, that could be important to you or not, but I wouldn't recommend going for low quality products. Make sure that you have realistic expectations along with your clients, and you manage those expectations with your clients, and you're very, very straightforward with their marketing budget, promotion control. You are in control of promotion. They're not going in meddling around. Make sure that that's because you don't want to hit certain walls with them to where you can't help them. Because sometimes clients will hurt themselves, and they don't even know that they're hurting themselves. All right, you got to be that person that stands up to it and says, "All right, look, this is how we said in the beginning. I have control of the promotion. Let me do my job. All right, and I'm going to get us to the promised land. I'm going to get us to that year-over-year increase, month-over-month increase, and then the growth potential. Looking for growth potential with clients that don't limit themselves. Okay, that don't put blinders on and stay within one realm, even though their clients or their customers are telling them, "Hey, we want this changed, or we want this option, or we want this option." Okay. All right. Then we talked about percentage or fee or both, and that's going to depend on your desired business model, the number of products, average sale price, growth potential, existing Amazon presence. If you have any specific questions about that and you want my opinion, please feel free to reach out because there's so many different variables here. I can't really just give you a hard, straightforward answer and say, "Oh, well, it'd be best if you did this," or "It'd be best if you did that." I can tell you what I do. I go for straight percentage. All right. I don't care to go for a retainer or whatever else. It puts skin in the game. It's a lot more. To me, it's a lot more. You get a better connection with your client if you're both in it and you both have skin in the game. Because I have time, I have promotion. You know, like I have this the knowledge that I'm putting in and I'm pushing their product forward. All right. If they're putting their faith in me, all right, then I'm not going to sit there and say, "Okay, well, I want you to pay me every month, and I also want a percentage," or "Do you pay me every month whether I perform or not?" It lets them know I'm serious about it. Okay, so that's just my personal preference. But if you have any specific questions about it as we move forward, or as you move forward, and you have a client, and you're like, "Hey, what should I do? They want to do this, they want to do that." Because you will have some clients that say, "Oh, we'll just pay you a monthly fee," but they're going to want you to do 6,000 products. All right, it's just not realistic. All right. So we'll have those conversations. I'm perfectly fine with reaching out to me on Facebook and asking me those questions. You understand that I do get a lot of contact, so I will do my best to get back to you as quickly as possible. I know there's a few people that are on the call right now that I've talked to that have asked these types of questions, and I answer every single one of them eventually. But sometimes it does take me a little bit of time to get around to it. So feel free to ask me that question. All right. So fastest ways to increase profitability for new clients. We talked about the standard optimization techniques that you learn within OMG. It's not necessarily rocket surgery, as they say, but then there's also the micro bid sponsored ads that we talked about, and then the data extraction from that. That was your super awesome trick that will blow your mind. Hopefully it blew your mind because that's some very, 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 very strong stuff. I wish I had known that stuff when I first started out, but hey, I figured it out on my own. All right, the next step is taking the blinders off. Take the blinders off. Don't limit yourself. Don't let your clients limit themselves. Expand with them into more profits by doing more things, networking out, talking with other OMGers, building out partnerships with not just Amazon clients, but people within the OMG group that can offer expertise in other areas that maybe you don't have. And with that, we are at the Q&A lightning round, yada, 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 yada.
Awesome. We are ready to go here, Jack. We got a lot of questions lined up. Before we get into questions, though, let's get a hashtag thanks, Jack. Jack's going to stay and answer as many questions as we possibly can in this actual lightning round. But like I said, let's go ahead and put a hashtag thanks Jack, just to thanks Jack for all that he's done tonight. I certainly think he deserves it. I'm so excited I can't even speak English properly. We got John Gill on here hashtagging. When you get John Gill on here hashtagging, you're obviously doing something right, Jack. If you got John Gill putting hashtags, that's pretty darn crazy. I don't know how you did it, but you did a sensational job. Let's get into these questions, though, as we thank Jack for all this information. I know there's a ton of questions. What we're going to do is we're going to go over all the PPC-related questions just so Jack can answer them. We still do have an emergency webinar planned some point, either this week or next week. So the questions that I don't get to today, I will stay longer to answer those questions. But let's get Jack here answering questions about PPC and or partnering. Here's one, Jack. Again, I'm going to read these as fast as possible, and Jack's going to answer them as quickly as he can just to get as many questions in. I know I've seen this one asked many times, but how do you approach this if you're a newbie? Do you need to have proof of selling listings on Amazon? And how many listings would you need?
Typically, as long as you have the experience, and what I would say is grab up a couple of bundling. Liz, I'm not very familiar if you've actually talked about bundling or not. Have you?
Yes, we had a webinar on it last week.
Okay, perfect. All right, so take bundling opportunities. This gets you in the door where you don't have to buy 60 different products. All right, you can buy a couple of different things, like maybe a coffee mug and some coffee, grocery gourmet food. But that's hang on, maybe that's not a good idea. So maybe like a tea, one of those little tea bells and a mug. All right, like take something like that. That's a bundle. All right, so you have a little tea strainer and a mug, and you offer that on Amazon. You can take that would probably be less than $10 or less than $20 where you can buy a product like that, and then list it on Amazon to where you actually get the familiarity with the system, and then you can speak intelligently on it. All right, so where you can actually go through sponsor ads and you can say, okay, well, we would do certain things for you. Like again, you're not necessarily giving them the farm, but you're explaining things in a way that an Amazon seller would understand. So if you went to Amazon sellers and they're asking you questions about, believe me, you're going to be light years ahead based on the training that you've had. Okay, you can explain certain things to them without giving them the secret sauce, but you can explain things to them in a way that they're going to have confidence in your ability to increase their sales. That's an Amazon seller. Okay. Now, if you're talking to businesses that are not Amazon sellers, all you got to do is say Amazon. I'll get you on Amazon. I'll get you on Amazon. That's all you got to do. I will get you on Amazon. If you really have an issue with whether or not you can deliver on something, or they're asking questions that you have contact with people like myself. Okay, I'm on the Facebook group. All right, I'm within OMG. All right, if you want to reach out to me and you want to say something along the lines, okay, well, I have this client and they're asking whether I have proof of certain things. The answer I typically give, because I don't like showing client products. I don't ever show client products. I show some of my test products every once in a while, but I don't ever show client products. That is an agreement that I have with my clients. It's a non-disclosure agreement. I'm not going out and showing the competition what products I promote. Okay? Even if it's not the competition. Like say it's in a completely different category that they're never going to be in. The point is that they're an Amazon seller. They are potential competition. Okay? So that's another side of it that you can use. You know what it is that you're doing. You're going to have a non-disclosure agreement with them. All right? You're going to have it templated out. If anybody has, I don't want to really get into the whole legal side of it, but if you want ideas about what you should be putting into your agreements, I have agreements that I use, so I can give you a little bit of insight on that. I would definitely say talk to a lawyer when it comes to that type of stuff versus coming to somebody who had their lawyer look at it. It's going to be different for you and your business. But having non-disclosure agreements in there, in your contracts, if they see something like that, before you actually make the contract with them, saying, here's the non-disclosure agreement that says that I'm not talking to anybody else, I'm not going to be in any other negotiations with people that are Amazon sellers for products similar to yours. Okay? You're not going to be showing results and products that you've promoted because they're covered by the non-disclosure agreement, and you don't want to have that whole competition side of things, head to head. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense, Jack. Okay, so we have another question. How many clients do you work with at a time? And do you work with different clients in the same niche?
No, I do not work with different clients at the same time, and basically what I was saying before, it doesn't really matter how many clients you work with at the same time. It matters like how much you're actually doing with that client. Okay, so when you're talking about like you could have one client and that could be literally tens of thousands of dollars a month for you. Okay, it doesn't have to be 5 clients or 10 clients or 15 clients. I'm going to tell you right now, it would get pretty daunting if you wind up being or like getting up to the point where you have 10 clients that have 300 products each. That's going to be tough. If you have 10 clients that have 10 products each, yeah, it gets to be a little bit tough to juggle that. All right. I have clients that either I test with. Okay, so I have clients that we're kind of in the Amazon seller game together, and we test certain things. We test certain processes out for ranking, certain manipulation, sponsored ads testing, yada yada yada. But I also have clients that I have exclusive deals with. All right. Off the top of my head, on the exclusive deals, we have 7 clients, but they're very, very large clients. Okay, and then I do consulting and I do percentage-based and partner-based for many others. Okay, so we have, it doesn't have to be 15, 20, 30, 40 different clients. Okay, it can be on the lower level of 5 clients, 3 clients. Why do you need 1,000 clients? You don't need 1,000 clients. You need clients that are willing to grow with you. Okay, you need clients that are willing to have that growth potential to where you can move out and launch multiple products with them. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Okay, here's a really good question. How do you determine advertising budget per product, or is it a shotgun approach per company?
Advertising budget is going to be based on the impressions that you get. It's not going to be a shotgun approach per company. Okay, so you can start it off general, but you need to let them understand that you're not going to increase budgets unless you have an ad group tuned up. Okay, so any company is going to understand this from an advertising standpoint. Let's say you want to start budgets at $10 per product. Okay, that's perfectly fine. You can get data from that. Okay, but as soon as you start hitting limits, like say for instance you start hitting that limit of $10 a day per product, then if your advertising cost of sale makes sense, you have a conversation with clients. Yeah, hey, this particular product is moving up, all right, and we're hitting that daily budget each and every day. I want to raise this budget to 20, 30, 40. They're gonna be perfectly fine with you doing that, because of the fact that you're tuning it up to the point where they're going to be just spending more money to make more money. All right. So it's a per product basis. You can set an initial ceiling with your client that you're both comfortable with. Okay. And it can be as little as $5 per product. Okay. Or it can be $10 or $20 per product, but you're only going to test it out on maybe 5 to 10 products to start off. Okay. You want to have that conversation with them on the front end to make sure that you're clear on what that budget needs to be on the front end. Okay, so if I talk to a client and I say, hey, we're going to put your budgets at $10 a day starting out. All right, I'm not going to go over that budget until I have a conversation with them. Okay, but I don't want them coming back to me and saying, hey, why are we spending $10 a day on this product when I had the conversation with them before? All right, but if you didn't have the conversation with them before and you're at a $10 a day budget for a product and they don't understand why they're spending that money, it's going to be easier to show them the numbers and say, well, we're spending $10 a day because we're tuning it up and we're making this much directly by doing that. Okay? So have the conversation with your client about where you want those or where they want the budgets to be, how many products you want to run advertising on, and then explain to them the process, that they need to be patient. They need to be patient for you to work it down and really tune up that campaign and really find the areas where you can get the majority of impressions and you can get the majority of all your clicks. And the lowest advertising cost of sale. So over time, you'll be able to, they'll be at $500 a day budgets across all of their different accounts, $1,000 a day budgets across their different products, and they're pulling in, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 worth of profit from that $1,000 spend.
Awesome. Thank you, Jack. How do you find the balance between giving too much and them not believing you've got skills?
What was that?
How do you find the balance between giving them too much information and them not believing you have skills?
If you're dealing with a super skeptical client, I guess I don't really like. I've had run-ins with this before, where I have somebody who keeps just pressuring, but in those cases, I actually find that the issue is not necessarily mine. The issue is them. Okay. And you can have a direct conversation with them and say, look, maybe you've been burned before, right? Maybe somebody's come to you and try to advertise you something. But one of the biggest reasons why I do the whole percentage side of things is because what are you out if I go in and start, moving around certain things and trying to increase your sales? Right? In a lot of cases when I'm dealing with these clients, they're not really stellar sellers to begin with, right? So if I go in and, I have a genuine conversation with them. Be genuine. Don't go in and tell them, hey, I'm going to be able to make you $1 million this month. Be genuine with them. Say, look, I'm here because I want to increase your business. I want to launch you on Amazon, or I want to increase your sales on Amazon. I can do that. Okay? Will you let me? If they say, well, what have you done before? Well, I'm in a group, and you can be honest with them. You can say, I'm in a group where we do a lot of different things, from SEO to PPC, but that's not what I'm talking to you about today. I'm talking to you about Amazon. I want to grow your business on Amazon, and I want to do so for a percentage of the profits. Okay, so you're not paying me any money today, all right? You're not paying me anything. I'm just going in, and I'm, getting access to your seller account. I'm optimizing your account, and I'm going to be spending a little bit of money, all right, in order to get things rolling in the right direction. And once you have them moving in the right direction, then all the doubt is gone. Right? And you can have that happen within literally the first week to 2 weeks. Okay, with the strategies that I was just explaining from a micro bid, micro budget, you can have that happening extremely quickly.
Awesome. Great. I'm just going to answer this one. This one's just a question about how do you keep track of the sales, or how do you verify how much sales go up? Either have them use the reporting feature, or give you access to the reporting features within Amazon, or use a third-party software like Hello Profit, Seller Oracle, and Managed by Stats. Okay, this one's for you, Jack. Would a smaller % of gross profit be easier to track / manage?
It's the same. Like when you're talking about the percentages, it's really the same. Like if I'm at 5% or 50%, do it is really putting in a number.
Awesome. Do PPC costs come off the biweekly payouts to establish net, or is the biweekly payout the net?
No, the biweekly, the advertising actually comes off of the credit card that is not taken out of your biweekly payment. Okay, so you will have to take that into consideration, and you can see that in the advertising reports. When you go to the payment section and then over to the top right, it's advertising invoice history, I believe it is. You can see all of the advertising charges that were basically charged between a specific time period. Like, so if my payment was between the 1st and 14th of February, I'll see all of the payments that went out for the advertising invoice during that time frame. Okay, it's not going to be segmented out. Like, say on the 2nd, I was charged $500 for ads for the previous couple of weeks. All right, because of the fact that I was charged during that 2-week time frame, I'm going to remove it from, or I'm going to add it into the overall financials that I'm going over for that initial 2-week period that I'm trying to determine what my percentage is going to be. So, does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Here's another really good one. Since it's difficult to really determine a client's true product cost, maybe it's better to take X percentage of gross sales instead of X percentage of net profit. A client can inflate their product cost very easily. With percentage of gross, this is never an issue. Would you agree with that, Jack?
Yes, to an extent, but that's why I like having conversations with my clients to where, we sit down and we kind of talk about what their costs are. Yes, they can inflate it, and yes, they can have those conversations, but you know what? You're going to be giving them hard data, okay? So make sure that they give you hard data as well, okay? Like from a manufacturer standpoint, yeah, they can have those conversations, they can inflate those things on you, but as long as you're still making money, like it's kind of a gauge of a situation where most of the people that I deal with, or all of the people that I deal with, if I don't trust them, like if I don't have a good relationship with them, and trust them to give me correct numbers and I'm seeing the full picture, I don't want to be taken advantage of, but if they try to take advantage of me, then that's kind of on them. Like I don't want to sound like a business guy that's kind of a pushover, but I try to make good business decisions on the front end. And I can kind of read people to the point where it may seem a little shady, it may seem a little bit, like say for instance, they're reluctant on the front end. I don't have time for that. Like I don't have time to deal with somebody who is like, oh, well, like complaining over every single thing. That's one of the reasons why I shifted more over to initially from SEO client consulting over to Amazon, because I was tired of hearing people complain about me increasing their business. All right. So, and that came down to an issue of me managing expectations on the front end. I didn't do a great job of that. All right. I know I'm kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent here away from the original question, but it is important to answering the question. All right. When you're dealing with people, all right, on a regular basis, you're dealing with clients, you're dealing with, if you go in there and you have a conversation with them, you can feel people out, all right? You can tell whether or not they're full of shit or if they're actually genuine, okay? So make sure you're doing business with people that actually care about things. And like I was saying before, when you're dealing with like people who have quality products, who actually really care about their product, and really care about their customers, you're dealing with like genuine people in that case. In most cases, if they really care about their customer, they really care about their like the end product and the quality of the product that they have. All right, like if they don't care about their product and their product is a piece of shit, excuse my French, but that's pretty much what you're going to be dealing with for the entire time you're with that client. All right, so you can avoid all those things on the front end by dealing with people who are genuine, who care about their customers, who care about the quality of their product, and who are just legitimate business owners that are trying to get ahead, and you can help them do that.
Awesome. Here's another question, Jack. It's pretty simple. We just want to clarify, we were increasing the bid by 5 cents, not the budget, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I'm sorry. I put that in there incorrectly. So you're increasing the bid by 3 to 5, or actually it was 3 to 7 cents. You're increasing the bid. So it'll be a 5 cent start, and then 3 to 7 cent increases as you move forward. Like, if you're getting impressions at 5 cents, if you're just doing a micro budget to get sales, and you're getting impressions at 5 cents, let it play out. You don't have to increase anything. If you're doing it for data extraction, then you increase incrementally. Okay, for the 3 to 5 cent increases on the bid. You can keep the budget at the same unless you're hitting your daily budget and your advertising cost of sale is super low. Okay, so if you're at a 5% advertising cost of sale and you're hitting your daily budget of $10, yeah, raise the budget.
Awesome. We have time for a couple more questions. Let me find them. Do you have the same keywords in multiple campaigns that you are running simultaneously?
All right. Yes, we're gonna. This is something we're gonna cover extensively in the sponsored ads training, but I'll cover it here now. Actually, Liz, you'll remember this. One of the first conversations you and I ever had was the multiple campaigns, basically duplicate campaigns, and that used to work really well across whatever. Like you could have the same bid and the same budget. As long as you have that, you could basically get multiple impressions across multiple campaigns. Now that stopped working because Amazon kind of tuned it up. It still works to an extent, all right, but you have to. It's ridiculous, like what you have to do in order to get it to work. All right, you have to have like 50 different campaigns up and running, and maybe like 4 or 5 of them are getting impressions. It's just too much time to deal. But one of the ways that you could do this legitimately is if you have multiple variations of the product. Okay, that's going to be something that's different. Don't take a campaign and basically, say you're in a broad match campaign, and you're creating you have a bunch of keywords that you're going to throw in that broad match campaign. Don't have it go to all the variations from within that campaign or within that specific ad group. Okay, have all those keywords go to one of the variations, and then create another ad group or another campaign. It could be either way, but you get the idea. It can be either in a new campaign altogether, or it can be in a new ad group where you create all the same keywords but to the new variation. Okay, so you don't want to group all of your different products in the ad group. Okay, so all of the different ad group ads, you don't want to have all the different variations of that product within that same ad group and then going to all the same keywords. Okay. My personal opinion is it dilutes the results that you get, all right? And you can have one variation of that product in with all those keywords, and then you can duplicate all those same keywords to the new variation, okay? And then the same thing works for the phrase match and the exact match. You can use all the same keywords that you were kind of targeting within the broad match campaign, duplicate them into a phrase match. So the things that are different here are going to be the variation of product that you're pointing it to, all right, or the bundle or whatever, as long as it still has the same product and it's relevant to the keywords that you're trying to target. And then the difference would be in the match types. But if you have differences within the bid and everything else is created equal, you're not going to be able to get the same amount of impressions, and your campaigns would be competing against themselves. So if you keep it at the same budget, only in some cases I've seen it to where none of the campaigns get any impressions, but if you keep it at the same budget, I've seen it to where one will dominate the other. And it's usually the one with the most historical data. Okay, so if you increase the bid on any one, you'll wind up getting more impressions to the one where you increase the bid, and that's basically you competing with yourself.
Awesome. Well, last question here, Jack. All I get now are, instead of the actual keywords like I used to get, are customer search keywords. Are those the keywords you're referring to?
Yes. Is he talking about an auto campaign?
I believe so. Okay, let's just take one more. How long do you work with a typical Amazon client? How long do they keep paying for you for this service?
All of my Amazon clients, I still have them, and we're talking 2+ years. And typically, I like to have contracts with them that are. Some people aren't okay with the 5-year term. I like a 5-year term, but I'm willing to bring it down to, like, say, a 1 or 2 year term in some cases, or a 5-year term with a performance cost, because that gives me time to really increase their brand and make myself valuable within their organization.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you very much, Jack, for coming in, and we sure hope we see you very soon again. Congratulations on your new son. And if you guys haven't put a hashtag thanks Jack in the Facebook group, I encourage you to do it right now. Show him your appreciation. Show him how much you love the content he provided tonight. If Jack did not answer your question, I see only a couple questions that were asked in there. Just tag him in the Facebook group. And like he said, he answers every single question. It might take him a little while longer than usual because he gets quite a bit of messages. So don't expect him to answer it immediately. He's doing it, again, like I said, out of the kindness of his heart. He's doing it to give back to the OMG community. He's a huge part of it, and he's one of the most helpful people that I know. He devotes a lot of his extra time and energy into this community. So if you haven't put the hashtag thanks Jack on there, go right ahead. Other than that, thank you very much for joining us. Smack, did you have anything to add?
Other than the fact that Jack is actually a very accessible guy, very helpful, and spends more time playing with these numbers on Amazon PPC than anybody that I've ever met. It's unfortunate we don't have time to get through all the questions people have asked, but we could be talking about this stuff all night. It's been terrific, and thanks so much for your time, Jack.
No problem. And like we said before, everybody who's still on, thanks for showing up. I hope you got some value out of it. Obviously, this is recorded. It should be in your members area. So if you have any specific questions later on about anything, feel free to hit me up on Facebook, and I'll definitely get around to your question as soon as I can.
Thanks a lot, Jack. We really appreciate it. And guys, again, if you haven't hashtag Jack, get on there and hashtag. Next week, we'll see who we have on. We really don't have anybody on tap next week, but we certainly will have Jack on here. We'll try to get him a little bit more often. He's got a lot of great ideas. I think people could really benefit from some of the stuff that you showed us tonight, Jack. I know a lot of comments on here. Great stuff. Awesome. Thanks. Jack is holding nothing back. This is awesome. And people are already giving you a nickname, Jack. Do you want to know what that is?
I don't know. Does it have anything to do with the picture that Mike has, like Rainbow Jack or something like that?
People are calling you Captain Jack.
All right. I can take that. I'll take that.
I kind of like it. It's very masculine. Has nothing to do with that girly picture Mike put out there for Jack. I don't understand that. I'm going to have to tell him next time. He's got to pick something a heck of a lot more manly. That girl's just not going to cut it.
Yeah, right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us. And thank you, Jack. And thank you, Smack. And we will see you all next week. Thanks again for coming.